Chapter 41. Receiving a Gift. Hiel, Hanguk, why are the black minotaurs here? Elka, the Silver Wolf tribe's chief, and 2 other silver wolves were taken aback by the sight of 2 black minotaurs following Theo. Black minotaurs were monsters from the 99th floor, and the gap between them and the Silver Wolf tribe that resided on the 85th floor was significant. It was a very unfavorable situation. However, Chief Elka, what should we do? Focus on the request. We have to complete the request to get food from Grid. They had a reason they couldn't back down. The young wolves of the tribe had been waiting for days just for the food they would bring. We must get information about Straw Hat this time, no matter what happens. The silver wolves prepared for battle against the black minotaurs. Yumio, Wuchen, saw protected Theo while Wuchen, Sam stepped forward. Go easy on them, Meow. You mustn't kill them, Meow. Yumio. As Wuchen, Sam was nodding in response to Theo's words. Thump, thump, thump. The silver wolves rushed quickly towards Wuchen, Sam. The only thing they could do in this situation was to make the first move. Elka rushed straight at Wuchen, Sam, while the other 2 wolves moved to the sides, looking for an opening. Roar! Elka launched his body at Wuchen, Sam's right thigh. Hueduk. Elka managed to strike 2 easily. Thump, thump. The other wolves bit Wuchen, Sam's left arm and right shoulder. However, Yumio, Wuchen, Sam's skin was tough and thick enough to resist the wolves' sharp teeth. Wuchen, Sam, unbothered, grabbed the wolves biting his arm and shoulder and slammed them to the ground. Bang! Crack! Crack! Yumio. Having knocked out 2 wolves, Wuchen, Sam threw a punch at Elka. It's dangerous. Elka quickly dodged back, seeing Wuchen, Sam's attacking fist. But Yumio, Wuchen, Sam's next punch was already flying towards Elka. Despite his size, he moved quickly. I can't dodge this. Elka saw Wuchen, Sam's huge fist approaching him, and his life flashed before his eyes. Elka, listen carefully. Although we are currently free mercenaries, moving for money, our ancestors were noble wolves who fought to uphold their pride in the past. You must always remember this and never bring disgrace to the honor of our ancestors. These were words his grandfather always said to him as a child. His grandfather's expression would come alive whenever he said those words, with a smile at the corner of his mouth and brightness in his eyes. Yes, Grandpa, when I grow up, I will also become a noble wolf, fighting to uphold our pride. That's right, that's right. Elka wanted to become a wolf that protected pride more than anyone else, remembering his grandfather's words. However, his dream was shattered when a severe famine struck the tower 100 years ago, drastically worsening the food situation. Many adults of the tribe chose to starve to death by giving up their food to save the young wolves. Elka's grandfather and parents also passed away during that time. Through experiencing the famine, Elka realized that pride alone does not provide food, that talking about pride is like chasing after clouds, and that maintaining pride is a tremendous luxury. So, he had been determinedly working as a freelance mercenary, earning money to fill the stomachs of the wolves in the tribe. Was I a noble wolf? Elka asked himself. The answer came quickly. No, he was a despicable wolf who had thrown away his pride. He had no regrets, just a sense of disappointment. If there is a next life, I want to live once as a noble wolf who upholds pride. Elka closed his eyes with the hope of a next life. Thud. Crack. Elka, who was hit by the fist of Wuchen, Sam, passed out. Did he really faint, Meow? Theo poked Elka's body with his front paw to confirm if he had truly fainted. And then, stamp, stamp, stamp. Theo took out a piece of paper and stamped the paw prints of the 3 fainted silver wolves one by one. The crime of aiming for my life is expensive, Meow. I will take revenge with money, Meow. Take them, Meow. Theo planned to take the wolves to Sejong and properly collect the price for their attempts on his life. Having Wuchen, Sam and Wuchen saw carry the 3 fainted wolves on their shoulders. Meow, meow, meow. Theo hummed a little tune as he descended the tower. Hoo, ahaha. If these guys have no money, they will have to pay with their bodies, Meow. If they have no money, they should pay with their bodies. An astonishing learning ability to apply what he learned from Sejong. Even the thoroughness of priests stamping the contracts. Hark Theo, the 2nd generation Sejong who was becoming more and more like Sejong. Swoosh! Sejong, who had woken up from his sleep, added a new line on the cave wall, completing the 4th line. Chinese letter, 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 Chinese letter. Sejong greeted the 200th day of him being stranded. It's already been 200 days. Although it was a day no different from yesterday, the number 200 created ripples in Sejong's heart, and he was about to fall into depression when, "Drrr," the baby bear announced its arrival. I'm here. And then squeak, squeak, squeak. He became lively with the responses from the baby rabbits. Since today is the 200th day, I need to give 200% of my energy. Thanks to them, Sejong's depression flew away in an instant. Sejong washed his face and prepared breakfast. The breakfast menu was grilled corn, Yesterday, he had eaten the last of the dried sweet potatoes that he used to have for breakfast every day, and had finished all the remaining sweet potatoes. Munch munch. While Sejun was eating the grilled corn, Squeak, the black rabbit came with a detoxifying green onion and grilled it on the fire. Being curious about the taste. Squeak. A moment later, the black rabbit, who had eaten the grilled detoxifying green onion, made a puzzled face. What's different? That's right, it doesn't taste much different from what we usually eat. Sejun, who had tried it first, confirmed that the black rabbit's thoughts were correct. That's how it was. There was no big difference in taste between the D-grade detoxifying green onion and the green onion leaves they had been eating. So, he was planning to sell it through Theo, boasting of its detoxifying effects and its efficacy in stimulating liver function, and kept it in storage. Of course, he thought the taste of the C+ grade detoxifying green onion would be different, but since there was only one of the C+ grade, he decided to keep it for later. In this way, Sejun and the rabbits, who had eaten breakfast, began their morning farming. Yarrr. Sejun, who had quickly finished harvesting cherry tomatoes and came up to the ground, was warmly welcomed by the baby bear. Play with me. But sorry. I'll play with you later. Sejun had a lot to do. The sickle rabbit was diligently cutting green onion leaves alone in the onion field. Swish, swish, swish. Sejun also joined in and worked hard on cutting green onion leaves. How long had he been cutting them? Did I plant too much? Sejun sighed, looking at the pile of green onion leaves he had cut that day. The green onion leaves were piled up to about 1 meter in height. While the shovel rabbit was making the field, and the watering rabbits were watering, Sejun was covering the area with green onion leaves. However, the production of green onion leaves exceeded the amount being used, with twice as many leaves being produced each day. Thanks to splitting and planting each time the roots grew, the green onion field quickly expanded from 200 square meter to 400 square meter. They really grow quickly, Sejun commented, seeing that the leaves of the green onions he had first cut had already grown about 10 cm. Although he could have left the green onion leaves as they were, he couldn't bear to leave them untouched. Now I can handle 10 black minotaurs. Swish, swish, Sejun said with a big smile as he started cutting green onion leaves again. And when he had almost finished cutting all the green onion leaves, squeak, the black rabbit came up to the surface and called Sejun. It was lunchtime. The lunch menu was grilled fish seasoned with salt. Sejun and the black rabbit sprinkled a pinch of pepper separately and enjoyed it. Munch munch, gulp, grrr. Every time the baby bear swallowed a piranha, he exclaimed how delicious it was and ate with joy. After their enjoyable lunchtime yawn, as Sejun was about to fall asleep for a nap with the black rabbit and the baby bear, the tower's administrator has prepared a gift for you on your 200th day in the tower. A gift? He was a little touched by Aileen's words that they cared for him because it was the 200th day. A quest is generated. Quest: give a magical cherry tomato to Aileen. Reward: secret. If refused, humph, you can't refuse my gift. A secret reward? Is it a surprise? Take a cherry tomato. Sejun completed the quest with high expectations. You have completed the quest. You have acquired Aileen's health soup as a reward for completing the quest. Health soup? The tower's administrator tells you to check the pot in the cave. The tower's administrator says they are going to sleep because they are sleepy from cooking a lot. Thank you. Sejun expressed his gratitude to Aileen. It was the first time he had received something from her. The tower's administrator says to eat it all since they put a lot of effort into making it. Alright, Sejun responded and went down to the cave. And then, what is this? Inside the pot was a sticky green liquid of unknown substance. Did you make this for me to eat? Sejun frowned as he took a closer look at the liquid. A description appeared. Aileen's health soup, right arrow, the first dish created by the great black dragon, Aileen Pratani, using various secret elixirs. Right arrow, the taste cannot be guaranteed, but the effect is excellent. If you survive. Right arrow, upon consumption, all stats increase by 3. Right arrow, upon consumption, becomes poisoned by C-grade paralysis poison. Right arrow, upon consumption, becomes poisoned by C-grade acid poison. Right arrow, chef, the great black dragon, Aileen Pratani. Right arrow, grade, an item. If he drinks this and survives, all his stats will increase by 3. Fortunately, Sejun had a C+ grade detoxifying green onion. Let's drink it. He decided to drink it since he wouldn't die from it. The increase of all stats by 3 gave Sejun the courage to make a bold decision. Gulp. Sejun ate the C+ grade detoxifying green onion. You have consumed the detoxifying green onion. For the next hour, you will be able to detoxify any poison of C+ grade or below. Good. He looked at the health soup in the pot with a serious face. This is not food, it's medicine. Brainwashing himself, Sejun unblocked his nose, put the pot to his mouth and drank Aileen's health soup. Gulp. You have consumed Aileen's health soup. You are poisoned by C-rank paralysis poison. You have detoxified it. You are poisoned by C-grade acid poison. You have detoxified it. He easily overcame the crisis caused by the poison. However, gulp, gulp, ugh. The bitter taste of the green health soup quickly brought forth another crisis. He couldn't afford to stop here. He couldn't endure this pain twice. Let's finish it at once. Sejun steeled himself and kept drinking, suppressing the urge to vomit. But gulp, gulp, ugh. Another crisis hit. As he drank the health soup, the fish head at the bottom of the pot started to slowly appear. Why did they put the whole fish head in there? Screaming inwardly, Sejun tightly closed his eyes to avoid meeting the gaze of the fish head, and continued to swallow the health soup. And then, you have consumed all of Eileen's health soup. All stats increased by 3. Finally, he reaped the fruit of his hard work. Ugh. Shivering from the terrible taste, Sejun resolved to outright refuse if Eileen ever offered a gift again. You guys eat this. Plop. Sejun threw the fish head that was in the pot into the pond. A moment later, you have killed a piranha. You have gained 2 experience points. You have killed a crayfish. You have gained 30 experience points. You have killed a giant electric eel. You have gained 5,000 experience points. A giant electric eel? He didn't know that such a creature was around the pond. It would have been dangerous if it had spewed electricity. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat. On the 200th day of being stranded, after eating Eileen's terrible gift, all of his stats increased by 3, and by using the gift, he was able to kill a giant electric eel, a potential threat in the cave, and his level increased. On the other hand, nothing was swimming around in the pond for a few days, so he couldn't eat piranha or crayfish for a while. Chapter 42. Setting out. Yell, hanguk snip snip. After having Eileen's health soup in the afternoon, which increased all of his stats by 3, Sejun invested all the bonus stats he earned from reaching level 18 into agility. As a result, his agility increased by 4, allowing him to cut through the green onion leaves as fast as a motorized machine. Moreover, with his increased strength, he started to cut 2-3 green onion leaves at once, which significantly reduced the work time compared to the morning. Snip snip. Cake, yuan. Cake, yuan. To move the fast, cut green onion leaves, Sejun ordered the idle baby bear. Of course, honey was required as a reward to make baby bear move. Alright, we finished a row. Let's eat some honey. Cake yuan. At Sejun's words, baby bear quickly picked up the glass jar filled with honey, and ran towards him. Plunk. Sejun opened the lid of the glass jar. Drip. As he poured a dollop of honey on baby bear's front paw, lick, lick. Baby bear began to lick and eat the honey eagerly. During this time, Sejun also took a short break. We've come a long way. Sejun looked around with a proud expression. From the 1,000 peanut seeds, 3,000 corn seeds, and 1,000 cherry tomato seeds that were planted in what was once a wasteland, green sprouts began to grow, giving the barren land a hint of green. Of course, the green onion field, where green onions were planted and Sejun hadn't cut yet, was so dense that it could be called a green forest. As Sejun was observing these changes around him, Cake, yuan. Baby bear, who had finished eating his honey, called Sejun. Let's get back to work quickly. If the earth moved by capitalism, for baby bear it was honeyism. Honey made baby bear move. Snip snip. At baby bear's urging, Sejun stood up from his seat and began to cut green onions. Was it really necessary for me to do this? Sejun glanced back, and then again began cutting onions in a flurry. Cake, yuan. With the thought of eating more honey, baby bear, brimming with enthusiasm, followed Sejun, picking up green onion leaves at a crazy speed. Huff, huff, huff. Sejun, who was cutting onions as if being chased by the baby bear, panted heavily. Thanks to the baby bear, the onion cutting time was halved compared to the morning. Lick, lick. Compared to Sejun, baby bear seemed to still have energy, happily licking the honey smeared on his front paw. So, Sejun, who finished his work early thanks to baby bear, took a short rest, and used the remaining time to plant the remaining corn seeds and cherry tomatoes. Cake yuan? The baby bear lingered around Sejun, wondering if he would give more honey. Is there nothing more to do? I need to do this alone. Cake, huang. At Sejun's words, the baby bear sat down gloomily on the ground. At that moment, ping, the black rabbit came up to the ground. Little bro, your big brother's here. Cake, yuan. Baby bear ran towards the black rabbit. Brother, play with me. While the two of them trained and played, Sejun diligently sowed the seeds. Thud. Sejun stabbed the ground with his dagger, placed a seed in the created space, and covered it with soil. As Sejun was carefully planting each seed, you have planted a magical cherry tomato seed. The probability of the magical cherry tomato seed sprouting increases due to the effect of seed sowing LV. 3. Your job experience increases very slightly. The proficiency of seed sowing LV. 3 increases very slightly. Due to the effect of proficiency increase LV. 1. The proficiency of seed sowing LV. 3 increases by an additional 5%. The proficiency of seed sowing LV. 3 is filled and the level increases. The level of seed sowing increased to 4. Just as harvesting level 4 had a new effect, seed sowing also had a new effect. Job skill, seed sowing LV. Or right arrow, the chance of seeds sprouting when planted increases slightly. Right arrow, the chance of being harmed by pests decreases very slightly. Pests? Bugs? Sejun, who had never seen bugs in the tower so far, was confused. What's this making me uneasy? Surely no real bugs will appear. Sejun put his discomfort behind him and planted another seed. Theo made Wuchen, Sam and Wuchen sought to wait at the entrance of the 40th floor merchant row and went down to the 38th floor of the tower. He wanted to monopolize the attention of humans. All attention must be on me, meow. For hunters, the massive body of the black minotaurs instilled fear, not interest, but Theo was cautious just in case. Theo thought that since humans loved him, a fierce beast, they could also love the black minotaurs. Theo was completely misjudging his charm point. I'm here, meow. Upon arriving at the 38th floor of the tower, Theo announced his arrival to the waiting hunters. Oh, he's finally here. Nearly 100 hunters, who had been waiting for Theo for several days, welcomed him. After learning that Theo had appeared late at the previous trading location, the hunters patiently waited this time, and even hunters from other guilds joined to buy the magical cherry tomatoes, significantly increasing their number. Phew, so many humans have come to trade with me, meow. Theo strutted forward without hesitation. As Theo walked forward, the hunters made way for him, like the parting of the sea. Today I will auction 3,600 D-grade magical cherry tomatoes, 400 each, meow. Theo, standing in the midst of the humans, declared confidently. With Theo's storage capacity having tripled, he was able to store as many as 3,600 cherry tomatoes, even with a third of the space filled with green onions. There was space for about 400 more, but that space was reserved for the crops to be delivered to Sejun's family. What? 3,600? The hunters were excited by Theo's announcement. It was pleasing to them because the demand was overflowing outside the tower, and they were having difficulty handling it. But now the supply increased. 120 tower coins for 400. As soon as the auction began, the starting price for 1 grade D magical cherry tomato started at 0.3 tower coins. 160 tower coins for 400. At Michael's instruction, Thomas, the head of Gagel's research team, promptly raised the price to 0.4 tower coins each. However, 170 tower coins for 400. 180 tower coins for 400. 200 tower coins for 400. The hunters here were all acting on behalf of some of the world's wealthiest people. Their financial resources were nothing to scoff at. The auction heated up. 320 tower coins for 400. Thomas, who had instructions from his boss to secure the magical tomato at all costs, won the first auction at a price of 0.8 tower coins each. All right. Other hunters looked resentfully at the cheering Thomas. It was because the price had jumped too high because of Thomas. Subsequent auctions continued, with a large quantity maintaining a price of 0.75 to 0.85 tower coins each. Out of these, Thomas bought 2,000 pieces. As it wasn't his own money, Thomas was spending freely. Sold out, meow. Thanks to Thomas, who splurged with company money, Theo achieved record-breaking sales this time. A whopping 2,870 tower coins. An incredible sum. Sejun will praise me, meow. Thought of receiving praise from Sejun, while enjoying treats on his lap, made Theo feel good. Those who want to take pictures with me, line up, meow. In a good mood, Theo provided excellent service to the female hunters with his broad smiles throughout the photo session. And then, give my reward, meow. He also made sure to receive a proper rewards. After the photo session, let's trade human, meow. Theo called Kim Dong-sik and proposed a deal. I'll do it. Kim Dong-sik, who had failed to secure the magical tomatoes due to the tycoon's reckless bids, accepted without even hearing the conditions. The conditions are the same as before, meow. The price is 200 magical tomatoes. Deliver these to Park Sejun's family, meow. Theo got Kim Dong-sik's signature on the contract and handed over 50 tower coins and 50 each of agility carrots, stamina corn, and magical cherry tomatoes. What? Kim Dong-sik was greatly surprised by the options of the crops handed over by Theo. Carrot that enhances agility and improves vision, corn that increases stamina and improves skin elasticity. It was a big shock to Kim Dong-sik, who thought only magical cherry tomatoes were available. If this is known to the world, it will become chaotic again. Kim Dong-sik realized this was an opportunity. Theo, from now on, I'll deliver the crops to Sejun's family every month without a fee and pay 50 tower coins. In return, give me a chance to buy other crops. Meow. I'll think about it, and tell you next time, meow. Theo postponed his decision to ask Sejun and decide. And so Theo, having perfectly completed Sejun's errand, returned to the entrance of the 40th floor merchant row where the black minotaurs were waiting. Munch munch. Wuchen, Sam and Wuchen Sa were munching on green onion leaves and keeping an eye on the wolves. Although they were supposed to be keeping an eye on them, but Wuchen, Sam and Wuchen, Sa found it too bothersome, so they would knock out the wolves by hitting them on the back of the head whenever they woke up. Let's go back up now. You. Feeling gloomy at the thought of only being able to eat one meal per day, if they go back now, Wuchen, Sam and Wuchen, Sa reluctantly got up on their feet. On the contrary, Theo's steps were incredibly light, excited at the thought of being able to climb up on Sejun's lap again. Meow meow meow. Singing to himself, Theo led the 2 black minotaurs and 3 wolves towards the 99th floor of the tower. Just then, while they were moving, Wuchen, Sam suddenly scratched his head. He felt like he was forgetting something. What the hell is Wuchen, Sam doing? The Minotaur King grew angry as there was still no news from Wuchen, Sam, despite waiting for a long time. Could it be? Did he enter another monster's territory while searching for grass? He worried that this naive guy might have entered the territory of the red-haired beasts or the poisonous bees in search of delicious grass. No. What if he went there? A terrifying scene crossed the Minotaur King's mind. That place was inhabited by dreadful creatures who would leave nothing behind, not even a corpse. Is it because of my command? The Minotaur King felt guilty, thinking that his order to fetch grass could have led to Wuchen, Sam's death. He never thought that Wuchen, Sam was eating delicious grass 3 times a day. Feeling guilty, the Minotaur King decided to personally go out to find Wuchen, Sam's corpse. The Minotaur King gathered his subordinates Wu Il Minotaur 1 to Wu Beak Minotaur 100 and ordered them to guard the waypoint. And then thud, he began his search for Wuchen Sam. Phew. On the 205th day of being stranded, Sejun sighed as he looked at the piles of green onion leaves, each measuring over 1 in height. There were just too many of them. Since each green onion root multiplied every time it was split and planted, the green onion field kept expanding, but there was no one to eat the green onion leaves. The production rate was overwhelmingly higher than the consumption rate. It'll get better once Wuchen, Sam and Wuchen, Sa return. Even then, it would only slow down the rate at which the pile of green onion leaves was growing. It was already more than what 2 black minotaurs could handle. Just then Kuyum, Baby Bear, jumped into the pile of green onion leaves. He seemed to like it because it was fluffy. If you like it, you can take it to use when you sleep. Kuyum. At Sejun's words, Baby Bear looked delighted and asked, "Can I also take Mom's share too?" Yeah. Just as the Mother Crimson Giant Bear and Baby Bear were about to take 10 piles of green onion leaves to use as bedding, thunk, a black minotaur, similar in size to the Mother Crimson Giant Bear, came charging towards Sejun's green onion field with bloodshot eyes. Hiel notes, previously, I changed the names of the minotaurs, for example, Minotaur 1303, etc. As more of them are introduced or mentioned in future chapters, should I continue using literal names like Minotaur 1, Minotaur 2, and so on? Or should I use Konglish names like Wuchen, Sam or Wuchen, Sa, etc.? Chapter 43. Dine and Dash. Hiel, Hanguk thud. The Minotaur King, having left the Black Minotaur territory, started to run quickly. As the boss of the 99th floor of the tower, the Minotaur King could not leave the waypoint for more than 1 hour a month. This is where Wuchen, Sam's Minotaur 1003 scent is coming from. The Minotaur King followed Wuchen, Sam Minotaur 1003 scent at a rapid pace. While moving, following the scent. Moo? What? Why do I smell Wuchen, Sa Minotaur 1004 with Wuchen, Sam Minotaur 1003 scent? Could it be? Have they fallen for each other? Those rascals. That explains everything. Why they hadn't been coming back into the territory for days. It was clear that Wuchen, Sam Minotaur 1003 must have seduced Wuchen, Sa Minotaur 1004 with delicious grass. Now, there was no Minotaur King who was worrying about his subordinate. There was only a Minotaur King who was cursing the couple. Moo! The Minotaur King roared in anger, and again moved fiercely following the scent. Just then huff, another scent mixed into the Minotaur King's nose. It was one of the delicious grass scents the Minotaur King had ordered Wuchen, Sam Minotaur 1003 to find, and the scents of his subordinates followed the direction of the grass scent. Got them! These rascals! The Minotaur King quickly rushed towards where the scent was coming from. As he followed the scents of his subordinates, and the grass became more intense. And before the Minotaur King's eyes, a spectacle unfolded. A green onion forest appeared in a place that used to be a wasteland. It was clear those 2 rascals were in there. They are eating delicious grass while also breeding. Trying to have both. At least give one up for me. Moo! Thump. Although the red-haired beast was visible next to the green onion field, the Minotaur King, who was only thinking of punishing the happy black Minotaur couple, didn't notice. The Minotaur King, losing his sanity, ran towards the green onion field. Tower's 99th floor boss Black Minotaur King. Sejun was startled, seeing the giant black Minotaur charging towards his green onion field. Roar! The mother Crimson Giant Bear quickly sent Baby Bear to Sejun and blocked the Minotaur King's path. The Minotaur King may be the strongest being on the 99th floor, but a promise was a promise. The mother Crimson Giant Bear risked her life as she had promised to protect this place. Just then Russell, the Minotaur King was frantically searching through the green onion field as if he had no interest in them. But when he found nothing munch, he started chewing on the green onion leaves without even cutting them. Munch. The delicious smell of grass filled the Minotaur King's mouth, and it had a soft yet chewy texture. The Minotaur King was so happy he couldn't control his excitement and roared cheerfully. He then sat on the ground and began to pluck the onions by their roots and eat them. Munch. In an instant, about a quarter of the green onion field disappeared. What's going on? Roar. Grr. Heap. Bang. Sejun and the animals looked at the Minotaur King with curiosity. Fear of the Minotaur King had completely disappeared. It was just a cow. A very large cow that loved green onions. And a while later, Minotaur King seemed regretful that he couldn't eat more. He got up from his spot, clutching a handful of green onions, and ran back in the direction of the waypoint. That's the boss of the 99th floor? Sejun looked despondently at Minotaur King as he ran away. He regretted not thinking of going to the waypoint sooner. I should have gone to him with green onions sooner. But now, there was no need for that. Minotaur King made a mistake. He destroyed Sejun's green onion furled, and even ate without paying. He ruined my field, and even had the audacity to dine and dash. He spoke with Wuchen, Sam Minotaur 1003. It was clear that black Minotaurs valued a warrior's honor. Undoubtedly, the Minotaur King would do the same. Or even more so, as the leader of the black Minotaurs, he would prioritize honor above all else. Sejun began calculating in his head with a sinister smile. A good idea came to his mind to turn the tables. Sejun wanted to rush to the waypoint right now to negotiate with the Minotaur King, but he decided to wait for Theo, who could translate for a smooth negotiation with Minotaur King. Aileen was also capable of translating, but it was a bit worrisome as Aileen sometimes suddenly falls asleep. Sejun began to clean up the green onion field that the Minotaur King had ruined. Although it was undoubtedly an annoying task, there was no annoyance visible on Sejun's face. If anything, he seemed in good spirits, humming a tune and smiling brightly. I should first ask Minotaur King to let me use the waypoint. And then, Sejun thought about what to demand from Minotaur King, while working tirelessly. The day after Minotaur King had made a mess of the green onion field. In the morning, Sejun quickly finished harvesting the cherry tomatoes, and began to clean up the green onion field that he hadn't finished cleaning up yesterday. He also started cutting green onion leaves. Snip snip, the task of cutting the green onion leaves ended quickly. Thanks to Minotaur King, who had removed a quarter of the green onion field yesterday, Sejun had less work to do. It's a bit disappointing. Sitting down after cutting all the green onion leaves and finishing his morning work, Sejun muttered. Grr. The baby bear, who had helped pile up the green onion leaves, brought the glass bottle filled with honey. He wanted honey. All right. With a click, Sejun opened the lid of the glass bottle. Pop. Baby bear quickly extended his front paw. Glug. Sejun carefully poured one dollop of honey. Lick lick. While Sejun was resting, watching baby bear enjoy licking the honey, Bountiful Harvest LV1 is activated. Bountiful Harvest applied on the 70 square meter of green onion field. Harvest yields will increase by 50% for the next week. On the green onion field? Thump, thump. The rough sound of burgeoning life reached Sejun's ears. Sejun quickly looked at the green onion field. The green onion leaves in the golden field were growing back rapidly. He took back his earlier regret. Sejun could now harvest the green onion leaves 3 times a day from the green onion field blessed with Bountiful Harvest. And Kiku-e, the baby bear who now gets to eat more honey, raised his hands and cheered. Hooray! 75th floor of the tower. Theo arrived at the shopping area with the black Minotaurs, and on his way to the general store to buy the glass jars that Sejun had asked for. The path was crowded with merchants today. I have to be careful to avoid them. Meow. Theo thought he should be careful not to get stepped on by the merchants' feet. Then whoosh, the merchants parted on both sides, making way for Theo. What? Meow. Theo was taken aback. Theo, being small, always had to dodge between the legs of the merchants so as not to be stepped on. But today, for some reason, the tall merchants did not block his path. They must have recognized me as a intermediate wandering merchant. Meow. With his chin held high, Theo confidently walked into the general store with the black Minotaurs. As Theo entered the general store, did you just see that? Yep. Am I seeing things correctly? Wow. Seeing a black Minotaur here. But how did they get into the shopping area? As far as I know, there's no wandering black Minotaur merchant. Perhaps they're freelance mercenary. Wow, that's amazing. A wandering merchant who hired a black Minotaur as a freelance mercenary. I want to see them at least once. Right. We should get to know such a big shot wandering merchant. None of the merchants knew that the employer of the black Minotaur had passed right by them. Inside the general store, thud. Theo put 20 glass jars on the counter. Huff, huff, Wuchen, Sam Minotaur 1003 and Wuchen, Sa Minotaur 1004, standing behind Theo, carrying the 3 wolves on their shoulders, were staring down at the shopkeeper. How much, meow? A 1 glass jar costs 0.15 tower coins, so the total would be 3 tower coins. The shopkeeper said in a voice full of fear. Give me a discount, meow. Theo attempted his first haggle. Then, I'll give them to you for 1.5 tower coins. What, meow? Theo was momentarily taken aback by the shopkeeper's immediate 50% discount. He is trying to make a good impression on me, an intermediate wandering merchant, meow. Although the price was reduced considerably, Theo still needed to haggle twice more as Sejun had instructed. Give me another discount, meow. Again? At Theo's second haggle, the shopkeeper replied with a voice on verge of crying. Or else, no, I'll give it to you for 0.5 tower coins. The shopkeeper shouted out with a pale face, selling each jar at a loss, considering the actual cost was 0.1 tower coin each, but he didn't want to end up as a corpse on the shoulders of those black minotaurs. What, meow? I was about to say I'd leave, but Theo felt something was off but attempted to haggle one more time. Give me another discount, meow. I was foolish and didn't understand. Just take them. Please spare my life. The shopkeeper fell to the floor and begged. Thanks, meow. Theo, looking puzzled, gathered up the 20 glass jars and left the general store. As expected, Park Sejun's words are always true, meow. Theo once again realized the greatness of Sejun, and when Theo tried to haggle 3 more times at the blacksmith shop, just take them, please. Thank you, meow. They even let him draw equipment for free at the blacksmith shop. However, there's nothing that catches my attention, meow. Still, since it was free, he just picked something randomly. Let's go, meow. Having finished his tasks, Theo used the merchant route again to ascend to the 99th floor of the tower with the black minotaurs. In the shopping area swept through by Theo and the minotaurs, rumors spread that a black minotaur was threatening a cat merchant, establishing a freelance mercenary contract, and causing havoc, making the conditions for hiring a black minotaur as a freelance mercenary more stringent. When Sejun came down to eat dinner after cutting green onion leaves 3 times in the bountiful harvest green onion field, the black rabbit was nowhere to be seen. Sejun realized he hadn't seen the black rabbit since lunchtime. Hiya! The other white rabbits also noticed that the black rabbit had disappeared and began searching for it. At that moment, splash! The black rabbit emerged, releasing the breath it had been holding underwater. I'm sure I checked the pond too. As Sejun was puzzling over this, the black rabbit, having taken a breath, pointed to a hole in the pond. Upon closer inspection, the hole in the pond had considerably widened. The black rabbit imitated hitting the wall with the end of its hammer. I broke it. After the pond poisoning incident, when no piranhas or crayfish came near the pond, the black rabbit went out through the hole in the pond in search of prey. Hey, that's dangerous! Though the pond water was diluted and not toxic, Sejun, knowing that there were dangerous monsters like giant electric eels outside, besides piranhas and crayfish, was angry. But Payon, the black rabbit argued back. I am also a warrior. Warriors need to get stronger. It felt a duty to protect Sejun, its family, and the field as a warrior. However, the black rabbit knew. It was the weakest here, only stronger than Sejun. Sejun was unaware that he was being treated as the weakest. So, when the piranhas and crayfish, which gave experience points, disappeared, the black rabbit felt anxious and ventured outside the pond. The fact that Sejun mentioned a giant electric eel outside the pond also played a part. Black rabbit, Sejun realized that he had been completely ignorant of the black rabbit's feelings. Did you want to eat meat that badly? The black rabbit thought Sejun understood its intentions and nodded its head. They were like 2 people dreaming different dreams in the same bed. On 206th day of being stranded, despite living together for almost half a year, Sejun and the black rabbit still had misunderstandings. I have translated the names of the minotaurs in this chapter using both terms. If this does not affect the reading experience, I will continue translating in this way. Otherwise, I will decide on one of the options I mentioned based on the feedback received. So, once again, please let me know if I should continue in the above mentioned way or choose only one way. On another note, we have come to know that Minotaur 1004 Wuchen Sa is a female. I have made the necessary changes in the previous translations to reflect that. Lastly, I have one more thing for which I would like to get your feedback. It is the use of the Miao dialect for Theo. Should I use Naya instead of Miao? In anime, this type of dialect is often expressed as Naya, which might be a better way. It would be great if you could let me know your thoughts on this as well. Chapter 44. Searching for the Electric Eel. Kiel, Hanguk, what should I do? Minotaur King, who had returned to the waypoint yesterday and fell asleep in a good mood, fell into contemplation, with a serious expression as he looked at the withered green onion root in his hand. I'm sure there were other beings with red fur beast in the onion field yesterday, and the green onions were neatly planted. In other words, someone had been growing green onions. He, a great warrior and the leader of all black minotaurs, had stolen someone else's things. What if the other black minotaurs find out? There was no shame like this. Gulp. Matilda Minotaur King eliminated the only evidence, the withered green onion, by putting it in his mouth. It tastes good. I'll pay the price in a month. Minotaur King decided to go back there in a month, when he could leave the waypoint, and pay for the grass he had eaten first. Then he would pay the price and eat more grass. This time he could not eat properly due to the 1-hour limit. But what should he pay? Minotaur King fell into thought about what to give as payment. Sejun had a detailed reward list, but Minotaur King didn't know that. Grrr. Baby Bear woke up Sejun and the rabbits with a strong growl. All right. Sejun got up energetically and added another mark to the wall, starting the 207th day morning. Let's eat breakfast. Sejun called the rabbits and had breakfast. The breakfast menu was carrots and steamed corn. Phew. Squeak squeak, but the faces of Sejun and the rabbits were as gloomy as could be. The carrots and corn they were eating now were the last ones. The first harvested carrots were already eaten a long time ago, and the carrots they were eating recently were those Sejun had harvested were grown from planting the carrot stalks. But even that, the carrot they're eating now is the last. And the corn too, is the last. From the day after tomorrow, they would have to eat only green onions and cherry tomatoes. They couldn't catch piranhas and crayfish from the pond anymore, and the fastest growing crop, potatoes, also required around 2 weeks to be ready. Seemed like a hungry period was coming. Gulp. Munch. Thus, Sejun and the rabbits, who had a gloomy breakfast, started their morning farming. Squeak. Today the black rabbit also helped earnestly with the work. The black rabbit's will to go outside the pond was so strong that Sejun had to convince the black rabbit to only go out when he was with him. And Sejun and the black rabbit agreed to explore outside the pond for 2 hours after lunchtime. Squeak. Squeak. In order to make up for the 2-hour gap when Sejun was away from the work, the black rabbit replaced the mother rabbit in removing cherry tomatoes from the branch that Sejun had harvested. Instead, the mother rabbit joined the green onion cutting work and worked in the onion field with the sickle rabbit. And the reason why the mother rabbit could join the onion cutting work was because the baby rabbits had started to help with the farming little by little. Squawk. Squeak. Squeak as farmers' blood was flowing in them. The baby rabbits were finding fun in farming, following their older brothers, and experiencing the job. Squeak. You harvested 6 well-ripened magical cherry tomatoes at once. Your job experience has increased slightly. Your proficiency in harvesting LV4 has increased slightly. Thanks to the effect of proficiency increase LV1, your proficiency in harvesting LV4 has increased by an additional 5%. You gained 136 experience points, 4D plus grade and 2D grade. He could calculate what he harvested just by looking at the experience points. The proportion of plus grade crops he harvested was gradually increasing. His job experience seemed to be almost filled. As Sejun was wondering when his job rank would rise, while harvesting the cherry tomatoes he noticed the poisonous honeybees busily moving in groups. What's going on? Sejun turned his head in the direction the bees were heading. In that direction were the tomatoes he had planted for his previous job quest, now blooming. Of the 1,000 tomato seeds he had planted, only 621 had grown properly. Is it already time to harvest? Saying that, Sejun's gaze turned to the potato field. Since he planted the potatoes the day after he planted the tomatoes, the timing was similar. Given that he would run out of corn tomorrow, Sejun was more interested in the potato field. Snip, snip. With the thought of soon being able to harvest the potatoes, Sejun energetically harvested the cherry tomatoes. After finishing the cherry tomato harvest and heading to the surface, snip, snip, the mother rabbit, now in a slightly fancier apron, was cutting the onion leaves with sharper and larger scissors. Yesterday, the mother rabbit also had her second awakening. Thanks to this, Sejun was able to precisely understand the mother rabbit's abilities. The mother rabbit's abilities were all-purpose. During this second awakening, all the equipment in the mother rabbit's apron had improved. Sejun also joined the onion field working group, cutting the onion leaves and planting the newly grown onion roots. The effects of the bountiful harvest didn't only accelerate the growth of the onion leaves but also the growth of the roots. In a bountiful harvest period, the speed at which the roots grew was incredibly fast. At this rate, we should be able to restore the field Minotaur King ruined within 5 days. Just as Sejun finished cutting all the onion leaves, thump, the black rabbit came up to the surface. Today's task wasn't to transport piranhas, but to move the prepared lunch. The lunch menu was grilled green onions and cherry tomatoes. Sejun and the rabbits ate lunch silently, and then chewing. Unable to eat piranhas, the baby bear filled its stomach with green onion leaves. In an instant, it had consumed about 10 large green onion leaves. You eat well, don't you? Seeing Baby Bear eat the green onion leaves so well, Sejun wondered if all the green onion leaves he had taken home had also disappeared into the crimson giant bear's belly. You can take more onion leaves if you need them. Growl. Sejun's words prompted Baby Bear to nod vigorously. You're good, not picky about food. Shush. Growl. In a happy mood, Sejun stroked Baby Bear's belly. Baby Bear, feeling comfortable, lay down and began to eat the green onions. In the midst of this, Sejun suddenly wondered, why hasn't it grown much recently? Based on the growth rate so far, Baby Bear should have grown over 5 meters, but it was still around 3 meters in size. In fact, it seemed even smaller than before. It's not like it's lacking food. Despite this thought, the Baby Bear seemed to be full of energy these days. While Sejun was worrying about Baby Bear, snooze, Baby Bear fell asleep while chewing on green onions, and Sejun also leaned against Baby Bear's body and fell asleep. And snore after lunch, the sleepy black rabbit also climbed onto Sejun's lap and fell asleep. Squeak! The black rabbit, refreshed from its nap, woke Sejun up. It was time to explore outside the pond. First, eat a detoxifying green onion. Squeak! At Sejun's words, the black rabbit chewed and ate a detoxifying green onion. This was to prepare for any potential poisoning. Next, check the rope. Squeak! The black rabbit checked the rope tied around its waist. The rope was a safety device. If the black rabbit pulled the rope twice, Sejun would pull the rope. Here's a weapon. Sejun handed over a spear he had made by attaching his dagger to a short stick and adjusted it to fit the black rabbit's body. In the water, the spear was more useful than the hammer. Splash! With the rope and the spear, the black rabbit entered the pond. Be careful. Squeak! The black rabbit responded and exited through the hole in the pond. Sejun prayed for the black rabbit's safety as he unreeled the rope. Outside the pond was so dark that you couldn't see in front of you, but the black rabbit, having been here once before, waited without panicking. Then, little by little, its eyes became accustomed to the darkness and it began to see ahead. If it had been total darkness, this wouldn't have been of any help, but there was a faint yellow light down below which made it possible. Yesterday, when it was getting used to the darkness and began to explore around, a commotion happened outside, so it had to go back into the pond. Let's go now. The black rabbit kicked forcefully towards the bottom. The target was the yellow light. As it moved a little, the flow of the water was strong towards the light, making the rabbit approach it more quickly. As it descended, the water temperature became colder. And what is all this? When it arrived where the yellow light was, it saw a massive amount of piranha and crayfish corpses carried by the current. The yellow light was flowing from the other side of the piles of bodies. As the black rabbit cleared away the piles of bodies and went forward, it saw the corpse of a giant eel that glowed bright gold from its head. The eel's body was so long that it seemed like it would be the same length as 25 green onions leaves were connected end to end. So that's it. Black Rabbit was certain that the eel was the giant electric eel that Sejun mentioned. Flutter, flutter. As Black Rabbit approached the head of the giant electric eel, he stabbed it with a spear. Thud. After slicing its flesh, it dug inside and pop. Black Rabbit found a fist-sized golden bead. Uncle would love this. Plop. Black Rabbit happily carried the bead and emerged from the eel's head. Black Rabbit strapped the spear on its back and pulled the rope twice, holding the bead tightly, entrusting itself to Sejun's hand while clutching the bead with all its might. Whir, whir. The rope was pulled and Black Rabbit was quickly pulled up. At some point, Black Rabbit lost consciousness. It had been holding its breath for too long. It's the signal. Feeling 2 tugs from the rope, Sejun began to pull the rope. He had to pull the rope as quickly as possible, but gently so as not to snap the rope. After about 2 minutes of strenuous pulling, a golden light began to appear from the other side of the pond hole. What's that? Sejun, although surprised, continued to pull until Black Rabbit, holding the golden light, arrived in the pond. Black Rabbit. Sejun rushed into the pond to pull out Black Rabbit. He then removed the bead and the rope from him. Huff. Just as he was about to give Black Rabbit artificial respiration fac. Black Rabbit's paw blocked Sejun's mouth. H. Black Rabbit looked at Sejun with a frown. What were you doing, Uncle? No. I was just trying to save you, Sej, and felt somewhat upset. H. Regaining his consciousness, Black Rabbit got up with a lot of energy. Then, it picked up the golden bead that Sejun had thrown and handed it to Sejun. What's this? Sejun took the golden bead that Black Rabbit handed him. You have obtained the core of the electric eel. Sejun had seen the same message when he removed it from Black Rabbit's arms earlier, but he hadn't checked it. The core of a giant electric eel? You found the giant electric eel? As Sejun looked in surprise, H. The Black Rabbit raised its head proudly. I am strong. Although Sejun didn't understand how finding the corpse of a giant electric eel equated to strength, but he first checked the options of the core. Giant electric eel's core right arrow. This is the core of a giant electric eel that lived for 1,000 years in the underground lake of the 99th floor of the tower. Right arrow. It emits light containing the power of electricity. Right arrow upon consumption, you can learn the skill, Rain Thunder. Right arrow usage restriction. Magic power 10 or more and the person who defeated the giant electric eel Park Si-jun. Right arrow grade. The core could even grant a skill. The mysteries of the tower were indeed endless. However, I can't eat it right now. Sejun's magic power wasn't enough to consume it yet. Here, take this. Sejun handed the golden bead to Black Rabbit and started massaging its shoulders. Squeak! Black Rabbit tilted its head at Sejun's sudden change in behavior. Why is Uncle acting so strange all of a sudden? Black Rabbit, I'd like a piece of eel, please. Sejun wanted to eat eel. So it was decided that the dinner would be grilled eel, cooked from the flesh of the giant electric eel that Black Rabbit had brought back. And just as the grilled eel was almost ready, I'm back, meow. Theo returned with great results. Hill notes. First of all, I've decided to stick with meow instead of changing it to Naya based on the feedback. If you prefer Naya, you can read it in the Manhwa translation, as the Manhwa translator has chosen Naya. Regarding the names of the Minotaurs, for now I'll continue using both names as I did in the. However, I might change it later, depending on their usage in future chapters. Lastly, a new Manhwa chapter is out, so you can read that to see Theo as well. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Chapter 45, showing the dignity of the great black dragon. Yell. Hanguk Sejun's dinner was postponed due to Theo's arrival. It was because of the wolves that Theo brought. Theo, why did you bring these wolves? I'm going to make these wolves pay for threatening my life, meow. I'm not sure how much I should take, meow. President Park, you decide, meow. Theo took out the contract signed by the wolves and handed it to Sejun. Ah, that's not hard. Sej nonchalantly wrote the reward Theo would receive on the contract. 10,000 tower coins. Oh, is my life worth that much, meow? Theo was moved by Sejun's words. He couldn't believe Sejun valued his life so highly. Of course, you are the representative in charge of our farm's distribution. Haha. As expected, Park Sejun can't do without me, meow. Theo hurriedly emptied his bag, because there was only about a month left for his representative time. Thud. From the bag, poured out the money he received from the trade, the glass bottles he acquired from running errands, and the seasoning and coffee mixes he received after taking pictures. This time, he took a lot of pictures, so he had about 30 hours worth of goods. 2,870 tower coins? How many more hours do I get as representative, meow? Theo asked Sejun, who was counting tower coins, with a voice full of anticipation. The sales were at an all-time high, so he had high hopes. There will be no more additional hours for you, as a representative from now on. What do you mean, meow? Theo was shocked at Sejun's words. He was not going to give him additional hours as a representative. Are you trying to kick me out, meow? President Park, that's me, meow. I work well, meow. Sob. Theo cried out sorrowfully, hugging Sejun's leg. You're kicking me out? What about my knee? He had to be with Park Sejun's knee. Without Park Sejun's knee, he would be nothing more than a lowly wandering cat merchant. The thought of having to work as a wandering merchant alone again made everything go dark. Meow. Theo's ears drooped in sadness. However, it was a misunderstanding on Theo's part. What are you talking about? Why would I kick out a capable wandering merchant like you, Theo? You'll continue being the representative, so there's no need for additional hours. I appoint you as the official representative of our farm's distribution. Here's your incentive. Sej unhanded 145 tower coins to Theo. Thank you, meow. I'll work harder from now on, meow. Theo wiped away the tears that had welled up in his eyes and cried out. And to celebrate your promotion to representative, I'll make you president for a day. President Theo? That sounds enticing, meow. Even though he just became representative, Theo found himself more attracted to the title of president. I'll become president, meow. Theo, who started to aim higher as soon as he was promoted to representative. But what's this smell, meow? It smells delicious, meow. The ambitious Theo, dreaming of greater power, sniffed the scent, nose twitching. As expected, Theo, a fish lover, could not miss the smell of grilled eel. Let's handle the rest tomorrow and eat dinner now. Sejun, who hadn't eaten dinner, was hungry. He tightly tied the front and hind legs of the unconscious wolves with ropes made with green onion leaves. And then, tell Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 and Wuchen Sa Minotaur 1004 not to go back today and to watch the wolves here. Tell them I'll provide snacks and tomorrow's breakfast. The reason he asked them to stay behind was that he also wanted to bring them along when he went to get the reward from Minotaur King tomorrow. Understood, meow. Leave it to President Theo, meow. When Theo loudly conveyed Sejun's message to the black Minotaurs, moo, moo, Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 and Wuchen Sa Minotaur 1004 accepted Sejun's proposal with joyful sounds. They had no reason to refuse when they would continue to be fed. Okay, let's eat now. You guys can eat the leaves from the green onion field. Moo, moo. Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 and Wuchen Sa Minotaur 1004 carried the wolves on their shoulders and moved to the green onion field. Sejun and Theo also went down to the cave for dinner. Squeak, squeak. Squeak! The rabbits, who had been waiting for Sejun, urged him to hurry up due to their hunger. Sorry, did you wait a lot? Let's first eat the detoxifying green onion. Munch munch. Sejun, Theo, and the rabbits each ate a grilled detoxifying green onion. There might still be poison left in the eel. Done eating? Then enjoy. As soon as Sejun's enjoy finished, the rabbits began to eat the eel hurriedly. Theo, wait a little. Sejun put an raw eel on the fire for Theo. Understood, meow. I can wait, meow. Theo, mesmerized by the sight of the eel cooking, wiped the drool flowing from his mouth and responded. Sejun ate one detoxifying green onion and picked up a piece of grilled eel seasoned with salt. The skin was well cooked, and the flesh was glistening and golden brown. It cooked nicely. Sejun put the well-cooked grilled eel in his mouth. You have consumed the flesh of the poison giant electric eel. Small amount of poison remains in the flesh of the giant electric eel. You are poisoned by an E-grade paralysis poison. Detoxified. You are poisoned by an E-grade acid poison. Detoxified. E-grade? Sejun, who had eaten a D+ grade detoxifying green onion, saw the message and felt relieved. Then he closed his eyes and savored the taste of the eel. Crunch. The eel's skin broke with a crispy sound, first waking the taste buds on his tongue with the salty taste of the salt sprinkled on the skin, and then the eel's flesh powerfully swam between Sejun's teeth, providing a chewy texture. And then gulp. The more he chewed, the rich and heavy umami taste of the eel dominated his mouth. Gulp. Sejun hurriedly took another piece of grilled eel and put it in his mouth. He didn't want to break the flow of this rich and savory taste. So, while Sejun was flipping Theo's grilled eel so it wouldn't burn and eating salted grilled eel in between, Theo's grilled eel was completely cooked. Now enjoy. I will enjoy it, meow. Hoo! Theo blew on the grilled eel to cool it down quickly. It seemed like it would take a while for Theo, with his cat's tongue, to eat. In the meantime, choo-choo. Sejun sprinkled a pinch of pepper on the eel he was going to eat. The salted grilled eel was delicious, but Sejun needed pepper to reduce the greasiness of the eel. Sejun and the animals, having eaten their fill of grilled eel, sighed. Ah, I can't eat anymore, I'm full, meow. Squeak squeak squeak. Everyone's lips were glistening with oil from the eel. Let's have dessert. Everyone, feeling lethargic from the greasy meal, hurriedly ate sweet and sour cherry tomatoes for dessert and went to bed. And lick. The sounds of the rabbits and Theo licking the oil from their fur around their mouths could be heard throughout the night. Alka, who had been knocked unconscious several times, quietly opened his eyes. Sororong. He could see two black minotaurs dozing in front of him. I need to escape now. Nibble. Alka carefully gnawed the rope binding his feet, and when he hurriedly tried to wake his colleagues and escape, roar, a giant shadow loomed over them. The next morning. Roar, whine, whimper. The roar of Mother Crimson Giant Bear and the howling of the wolves woke Sejun from his sleep. What's going on? As Sejun hurriedly ascended to the surface. Groan. The Mother Crimson Giant Bear was suppressing two wolves with her front paws and roar. One was being held down by the baby bear, who had climbed onto the wolf's back and was strangling its neck. It was a demonstration of overwhelming physical strength. What's going on? Among Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 and Wuchen Sa Minotaur 1004, who had let the wolves escape, approached, scratching their heads. We dozed off for a bit, meow. Theo, hanging onto Sejun's legs, replied. It seemed that while the two were sleeping, the wolves had chewed the ropes and tried to escape, but Mother Crimson Giant Bear and her cub caught them. Grrr. Baby Bear was drooling looking at the wolves. Can I eat them? No. Sejun had to collect the money for targeting Theo's life from the wolves. Growl. The baby bear looked greatly disappointed when Sejun told him not to eat the prey he had hunted. It's what I caught. Instead, let's have grilled eel. Growl. At Sejun's call to eat, the baby bear's head turned quickly. Food. Sejun had the rabbits bring over the leftover grilled eel from the previous day, and the baby bear started eating it with relish. And sigh. Sejun's back of the head felt hot. It seemed like he would have to prepare eel for Mother Crimson Giant Bear to eat for lunch as well. Thump. Mother Crimson Giant Bear quickly went on patrol to return for lunch, while the rabbits, Theo, Baby Bear, and the black minotaurs surrounded the wolves. Did you attack our representative, Theo? We apologize. Oh, Great Black Dragon. We did not know that the cat wandering merchant was a subordinate of the Great Black Dragon. Please quell your anger with my life, the chief of the Silver Wolf tribe. In response to Sejun's question, Elka prostrated himself and cried out, misunderstanding Sejun's identity. Sejun nonchalantly issued orders to the monsters on the 99th floor of the tower, and the monsters, who should be fighting each other, were getting along well. Elka thought that this was impossible unless the existence in front of him was the Great Black Dragon. The Great Black Dragon? As Sejun was about to deny it, the tower's administrator says it will allow you to impersonate the Great Black Dragon. A quest has been generated. Quest. Show the wolves of the Silver Wolf tribe the dignity of the Great Black Dragon. Reward. Aileen is happy if declined. Aileen is disappointed. The tower's administrator cheers you on to show the dignity of the Great Black Dragon. Eileen, who had not yet shown herself as the Great Black Dragon, wanted to vicariously enjoy it through Sejun. What are you talking about, Meow? Our President Park is Sejun quickly covered Theo's mouth. He would have to benefit from Aileen's favor soon, so he couldn't afford to upset Aileen. Although he had gotten close to Aileen, surprisingly, a relationship could be bent from a small disappointment. Sejun decided to do the quest, and he was not a fool to throw away this opportunity when the tower's administrator gave him permission to impersonate himself. Yes, you should know how great a crime you've committed by obstructing my work as the Great Black Dragon, since you are aware of my identity. Great Black Dragon, we are truly sorry. We really didn't know. Ignorance does not excuse you from guilt. Guilt is guilt whether you are aware of it or not. But I will specially give you the opportunity to be forgiven. Sejun held out a contract. The cost of targeting our representative Theo's life is 10,000 tower coins. If you repay this money, you will be forgiven. What? 10,000 tower coins? How can we repay such a large amount of money? If you don't have it, repay with your body, Meow. From behind, Theo, who had been figuring out the situation, quickly shouted. He wanted to say this for sure. Theo thought Sejun looked cool when he said that to Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003. Repay with our bodies? Elka's head spun at Theo's words to repay 10,000 tower coins with their bodies. The commission with Grid was postpaid, and there was no particular disadvantage to canceling the contract. But while he was paying off the debt with his body, the young wolves of his tribe, who were in the village, Sir Great Black Dragon, we dare to ask. Our entire tribe will repay the money. Just please don't let us starve to death. Looking at the crops growing in the fields, Elka thought that if they worked under Sejun, they would not starve to death. Good. From now on, President Theos will manage you. You guys, from now on, you need to listen to me well, Meow. At Sejun's words, Theo shouted at the wolves. Even though Theo had wondered what was good about becoming a president, he had already conquered Sejun's lap. He didn't want anything more. But hut. It seems becoming a president means getting subordinates. Theo was delighted to have his own subordinates. We understand. We will follow President Theo, according to the command of the Great Black Dragon. Thank you very much, Great Black Dragon. You have completed the quest. The tower's administrator is overjoyed at the Great Black Dragon being praised. Sejun established the status of the Great Black Dragon, recruited the entire Silver Wolf tribe, and expanded his power. Another chapter in few hours. Chapter 46. Harvesting Potatoes. Gale, Hanguk. Once the fate of the wolves was decided, Sejun and the rabbits prepared breakfast and went down to the cave. And then, follow me, Meow. Theo guided the wolves around, introducing them to Sejun's farm as if it were his own. This is the green onion field, Meow. And here is, however, Theo's explanation was quickly stumped because all the green sprouts looked similar. When Theo was stuck, squeak, Guanyi Baby Bear took the lead to explain. They planted peanuts over there. Since Guanyi Baby Bear was playing near the field every day, he knew very well what was planted where. This is the peanut field, Meow. So, with Guanyi's Baby Bear support, while Theo was explaining the fields to the wolves, let's have breakfast. Sejun, who had prepared breakfast, called everyone. The breakfast menu originally consisted of green onions and cherry tomatoes, but after hearing from Black Rabbit yesterday that there were other corpses besides giant electric eel, Sejun suggested the wolves eat piranhas and crayfish. In truth, Sejun wanted to have a more substantial meal. Still, he gained some know-how from bringing back eel meat yesterday, which made it easier to bring back other corpses. Black Rabbit went down with several ropes and tied up dead piranhas, crayfish, and chunks of eel meat so that all Sejun had to do was pull up the ropes like fishing. Thanks to the low water temperature, the corpses didn't rot, and they could eat them without any issues. Of course, they had to eat detoxifying green onions. After a hearty breakfast, Sejun and the rabbits started their morning farming. And then President Theo put the green onion leaves in your bag. He asked Theo to put green onion leaves in his bag. He had a place to take the green onion leaves. I understand, Meow. Wolf employees, follow me, Meow. Yes, President Theo. The wolves, who had eaten their fill after a long time, actively moved at Theo's words. Theo, who received Sejun's order, filled his bag with green onion leaves with the help of the wolves. In the meantime, snip snip, Sejun quickly harvested the cherry tomatoes. Then, you have simultaneously harvested 9 well-ripened magical cherry tomatoes. Your job experience increases slightly. Your job experience has reached its limit. Your Tower Farmer D rank increases. You have become a Tower Farmer C. His job rank increased. Good. Sejun was happy that he could harvest more delicious C-grade crops in the future. Your job traits are enhanced as your job rank increases. Through job traits, you become more friendly with nature and the hidden talent. Friend of nature awakens. Huh? A talent awakens? Sejun was greatly surprised by the message that a talent had awakened. He had never heard of a case where another talent awakened besides the one during the awakening. Of course there were hunters like Sejun who awakened new talents. It's just that hunters kept it a secret and Sejun, who had been an ordinary person, couldn't access it. Your proficiency in harvesting LV4 increases slightly. Due to the effect of proficiency increase LV1, your proficiency in harvesting LV4 has increased by an additional 5%. You have gained 208 experience points. As Sejun was in a hurry to check out his new talent, Relic, St. Patrick's Straw Hat verifies the user's job rank increase. Tower Farmer C confirmed. The rank of the Relic, St. Patrick's Straw Hat increases to C. C grade restrictions are lifted. Restriction on skill. Earth's Blessing LV4 is lifted. Restriction on skill. Farmer's Body LV3 is lifted. Restriction on skill. Bountiful Harvest LV2 is lifted. Skill, Growth Acceleration LV1 is unlocked. Just the job rank rising by 1 changed many things. Sejun then checked his new talent. Talent, Friend of Nature Right Arrow, a talent that boasts a fairly high level of affinity with nature. Right arrow communication with plants and animals, with whom you cannot converse, becomes smoother when you make contact. Communication becomes smoother when I make contact. As Sejun approached Koendi Baby Bear, who was playing alone above the ground. KQ, Wom. Koendi Baby Bear looked at Sejun, tilting its head, wondering what was happening. Why? Chuck. Sejun grabbed Koendi's baby bear front paw. KQ, Wom. Dad, are you going to play with me? Koendi's baby bear cry began to be translated and heard. Oh, this is amazing. Sejun paused, amazed at the new talent. But Dad, to a person who hasn't even married yet? No, that isn't the problem. Our species are different. Explaining it to Koendi Baby Bear could take time, and should be done slowly. If he explained to Koendi Baby Bear that he wasn't the father and Koendi Baby Bear, shocked, hit him saying I hate Dad, it would be a fatal blow to him. And people usually regard their pets as their children. Sejun thought he just had a quite big pet bear. Definitely not rationalizing his thoughts to save his life. Definitely not. Thus, after checking his new talent, Sejun checked the skills of St. Patrick's Straw Hat. The Earth's Blessing increased magic recovery from a little to quite a lot. The Farmer's Body increased all stats from 3 to 5. The Bountiful Harvest increased the area of bountiful yield from a maximum of 100 square meter to 300 square meter. And the new skill, Growth Acceleration. Growth Acceleration LV. One right arrow active skill. Right arrow accelerates the growth of 10 crops by a week without side effects. Right arrow cooldown, 10 days. Accelerate the growth of crops by a week. Sejun thought of the potato field that was close to harvest. What if he used the skill on the potato field? Today's lunch menu is steamed potatoes. Sejun hurried to the potato field. And then, is this how I use it? Growth Acceleration. Sejun, who was using an active skill for the first time, awkwardly stretched out his hand and used the skill on the potato field. You used Growth Acceleration LV1. Accelerating the growth of 10 potatoes by a week. The 10 potato stems that were close to Sejun glowed. Surface didn't change much. Would you duke? The sound of the potatoes growing from the ground could be heard. Sejun waited for a moment, and then pulled out the nearest potato stem to harvest the potatoes. Duck. Along the potato stem, fist-sized potatoes fell out one by one. You have simultaneously harvested 20 well-ripened power potatoes. Your job experience increases slightly. The proficiency of harvesting LV4 increases slightly. Due to the effect of proficiency increase LV1, the proficiency of harvesting LV4 increases an additional 5%. You gain 600 experience. Fortunately, the potatoes grew well. Power potatoes? Sejun checked the option of the harvested potatoes. Power potatoes. Right arrow. These potatoes grown inside the tower are delicious due to ample nutrient absorption. Right arrow grown by a farmer familiar with agriculture. Its taste and efficiency have improved. Right arrow when consumed, it breaks down 30 g of fat in the body and increases strength by 0.5 for 10 minutes. Right arrow up to 10 effects can be applied simultaneously within 1 hour. Right arrow when non-awakeners consume it, it breaks down 30 g of fat and increases stomach activity. Right arrow cultivator. Tower Farmer Park Sejun right arrow, expiration date. 90 days. Right arrow grade. C. Thanks to Sejun's job rank rising to C, an extra line was added to the option. Grown by a farmer familiar with agriculture, its taste and efficiency have improved. And with the increased efficiency, it broke down 30 g of fat and strength increased from 0.3 to 0.5. This could draw interest from low-level hunters. Up until grade D crops, eating 10 of them resulted in a stat increase of 2, but now it has increased to 5. With that much, it could increase a stat equivalent to equipping a level 5 item at level 1. However, that wasn't important now. We have nothing to eat. Sejun thought he would sell the potatoes to hunters later, when the potato harvest was more plentiful, and hurriedly harvested the rest of the potatoes. The option that makes the stomach functions more active wasn't of much interest to Sejun, who digests food well, so he quickly forgot about it. In total, he harvested 197 potatoes. Hum, Sejun hummed as he washed the potatoes. Then he filled the bottoms of 3 pots with green onion leaves and filled them with potatoes, and began steaming them. The remaining potatoes were wrapped in green onion leaves to be roasted for faster consumption. While the potatoes were cooking, Sejun quickly pulled a rope that was tied to a branch stuck in the ground in front of the pond. It was to prepare grilled eel for the mother crimson giant bear. Soon after, chunks of eel flesh came up along the rope. The black rabbit had previously cut and tied them up. Squeak! When Sejun pulled the rope, the black rabbit, who had been patrolling the outside of the pond with the giant electric eel's intestine in its mouth, came out of the pond. It had come out to help, knowing that Sejun was preparing lunch. Sejun and the black rabbit grilled the eel. Then rattle, rattle. Steam began to push and leak out from the pot lid. Is it cooked? Sejun opened the pot lid and stuck a chopstick he had whittled from a twig into a potato. Plop! The chopstick penetrated the potato without resistance. The potatoes were ready. And then roar! Coincidentally, the mother crimson giant bear returned from her patrol. Let's eat lunch. At Sejun's shout, the animals gathered around the cave. Sejun first lifted up the grilled eel for the mother crimson giant bear. Then Sejun filled green onion leaves with steamed potatoes and roasted potatoes, took it to the surface, and spread it out in the middle of the animals that were seated in a circle. Be careful, it's hot. Whoosh! The rabbits started to cool a potato each. However, the mother crimson giant bear and 2 black minotaurs picked up several hot potatoes at once and stuffed them into their mouths. Munch munch! Steam was puffing out of their mouths, but they swallowed the potatoes as if nothing was wrong and picked up more potatoes. Fearsome creatures. At times like this, monsters were truly monsters. As Sejun watched the monster's hot potato eating spree, the potatoes disappeared quickly. What? Hurriedly, Sejun grabbed 2 steamed and 2 roasted potatoes for himself and placed them in front of him. And then hoo-hoo! He blew on a steamed potato to cool it down and carefully peeled off the skin. After peeling off about half of the potato skin, chomp! Sejun took a bite of the potato. Ah, it's hot. It was hot, but he didn't spit it out. Instead, he cooled the potato in his mouth and chewed. Ah, it's so delicious! Sejun was thrilled by the texture of the fluffy potato. In a blink of an eye, he finished 1 steamed potato and peeled another one, this time dipping it in salt. Although Sejun usually liked dipping steamed potatoes in sugar, he was disappointed there was no sugar. It's delicious. It wasn't bad eating it dipped in salt. After the warm lunchtime like potatoes. President Theo, how about the green onion leaves? I filled them up, meow. In response to Sejun's question, Theo saluted as if he had learned it somewhere and answered. Then, let's take a walk to help digestion. Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003, guide us to the Minotaur King. For the first time, Sejun decided to go far from the cave to receive the compensation for Minotaur King's dine and dash. When Theo conveyed Sejun's words to Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003. What? Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 belatedly remembered the order of the Minotaur King at the word Minotaur King, and was startled. I brought some green onion leaves and want to have a little chat. For now, he did not let Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 know about the Minotaur King's dine and dash. There was no reason to give up the possible advantage in negotiations. Mo. At Sejun's words, Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 was very pleased. By taking Sejun, he would effectively carry out the order of the Minotaur King. Mo. With joy, Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 decided to guide Sejun to the Minotaur King. On the 208th day of being stranded, Sejun finally left the cave and set off to tackle the boss on the 99th floor of the tower. Hiel notes, Kuani Baby Bear. Starting from chapter 37, the author began referring to the baby bear as Kuani Bzuini, without any specific reason or further explanation. Initially, I opted to stick with the name Baby Bear until now. However, as the story unfolds, the name Kuani is being used more frequently. Therefore, from this point onward, I will start using the name Kuani in future chapters. Chapter 47 TL, Hangduk. When Sejun unannounced he was going to meet the boss of the 99th floor of the tower, Minotaur King, Squeak, Growl, the black rabbit, and the Kuani baby bear stepped up. We'll protect you. And then President Theo, get ready. What, meow? I'm going to. Theo, who was in charge of luggage, was forced to go on a business trip. Lead the way. You moo. At Sejun's words, Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 and Wuchen Sa Minotaur 1004 took the lead. But thud, hey, how are we supposed to keep up if you run so fast? In a moment, Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 and Wuchen Sa Minotaur 1004 quickly got away. Oh great black dragon, I will serve you. Elka knelt in front of Sejun, and the other wolves carried the black rabbit and Theo on their backs. However, Grr, Kuandi baby bear was held by the front paw of the mother crimson giant bear. As a mother, she couldn't send her cub to a dangerous place where Minotaur King is. Kuani baby bear, it's dangerous, so wait here. Sejun tried to comfort Kuani baby bear Jar Bar, with the sound of Kuani baby bear crying that he wanted to go with them in the background. Sejun, Theo, and the black rabbit set off on wolves towards the waypoint guarded by Minotaur King. Dada dada. The wolves moved at a speed of nearly 70 km/h, which was extremely fast. Swoosh! The vast wasteland quickly passed by Sejun's eyes as he rode on a wolf. After running for a while, the endless wasteland ended, and a red land began to appear. Was it mud? The idea of mud bricks came to Sejun's mind. If I make bricks, I can build buildings. While Sejun was moving, thinking of building buildings with mud bricks, a group of over 1,000 black minotaurs appeared in the distance. But what are they doing? The black minotaurs were seen putting clumps of mud into their mouths. Is that why they get excited just by seeing grass? Sejun suddenly felt sorry for the black minotaurs. Yumu! Minotaur 1 rushed to call Minotaur King. What's the matter? Minotaur King, who was sleeping in front of the waypoint, opened his eyes and asked. Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 and Wuchen Sa Minotaur 1004 have returned. What? Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1004. Thump. Minotaur King kicked the ground, and stood up at the news that Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003, who ignored his orders, and went on a date, returned. Where are they? But they brought a stranger. A stranger? Bring them all here. Yes. Thus, Sejun and his party, guided by Minotaur 1, met Minotaur King with Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 and Wuchen Sa Minotaur 1004. Beside Minotaur King, a red bone club and a white horn were stuck in the ground. And that must be the waypoint. Sejun looked at the red crystal seen behind Minotaur King. Yumu? He asks why you came here, meow. Theo translated Minotaur King's words. Tell Minotaur King I came to collect the debt from 3 days ago. I got it, meow. Minotaur King, we came to collect the debt from 3 days ago, meow. Theo bravely conveyed Sejun's words to Minotaur King. There was no reason for him to back down because he was the deadly yellow cat under the command of the great black dragon. Hugh, hut. This adds a splendid scene to my life story, meow. When Theo was imagining a splendid scene for a story to tell others later, Minotaur King was furious at the attitude of demanding a price so boldly. Meow, gulp, meow, gulp. Theo, startled by Minotaur King's shout, began to hiccup. Calm down. Sejun soothed the startled Theo by stroking his head, then approached Minotaur King. And then Chuck. He put his hand on Minotaur King's leg and said, I've heard that black minotaurs are honorable warriors, but it seems that was an old story. You don't even feel ashamed of what you've done, and instead you get angry. So, is it okay if I tell your subordinates that their boss stole someone else's food? When Sejun conveyed his words and was about to remove his hand, Yumu. Wait! Minotaur King grabbed Sejun urgently. I knew it! Sejun forced down the corners of his mouth that were rising and said in an indifferent voice. What is it? Yumu! Yumu, I am a great warrior of the black minotaurs who respect honor. I was planning to repay you later, as compensation for the grass I ate last time. Just as the Minotaur King was about to suggest a price, hold on. I'll decide what I want to take. First, allow me to use the waypoint. Sejun cut off the Minotaur King's words and stated his own demand. Yumu? You mean the waypoint? So how about it? At Sejun's words, Minotaur King thought for a moment. And then Yumu. Yumu, okay. I permit it. It might be useless to you, but... The Minotaur King stepped aside to allow Sejun to approach the waypoint. Got it. Sejun didn't hear the rest of Minotaur King's words because he was approaching the waypoint. Finally, Sejun reached out to the red crystal floating in the air. Waypoint of the 99th floor of the tower has been saved. Loading other floors saved waypoint. There is no other floor saved waypoint besides the 99th floor of the tower, so you cannot move to another floor. What? Sejun, who started from the 99th floor of the tower, didn't have any other waypoint saved. There was nowhere to go. Normally, other hunters would start from the first floor, marking the waypoint of the first floor, and then climb the tower. And generally, when a waypoint is saved, a portal to the next floor appears. This was possible regardless of the boss raid. There were many floors where the location of the floor boss and the waypoint were different. He had never heard of a downward portal appearing. There was no need for that, since you could use the waypoint to go down. While Sejun was disappointed, Yumu, Minotaur King, who had kept his beloved bone, sighed in relief. Minotaur King, who valued his own honor, intended to give Sejun his cherished red bone as a compensation to maintain the honor of a great warrior. The red bone was a legendary great club that turned red by absorbing the blood of numerous monsters. It was one of only 3 legendary items in the tower. He lost the opportunity to get a legendary club because of the waypoint he couldn't even use properly. Of course, there was a side effect of becoming a blood-crazed lunatic, if not controlled, so it wouldn't have been good for Sejun to have it anyway. The next price is, Sejun asked Minotaur King for a few more things in return. Then, when Sejun looked at Theo Theo took out a green onion leaves big enough to make a small hill from his bag. This is a gift for our future friendship. Although it was called a gift, it was brought to promote the green onion leaves to the black minotaurs. It meant, we have this, so if you're interested, come and work for us. Swallow. Minotaur King swallowed his saliva looking at the green onion leaves. It seemed as if he had already secured a worker. It's been 3 days since Sedge met Minotaur King. Several things had happened in the meantime. The biggest news was that Mother Rabbit was pregnant again. It was due to the grilled eel. Ever since they started sending baby rabbits to the first-generation rabbit's burrow, something odd has been happening. Let's see if they start asking for grilled eels from now on. Sejun was somehow irritated, and thanks to the deal with Minotaur King, the whole wasteland area was recognized as Sejun's territory, and 10 black minotaurs came to work on Sejun's land every day and cultivated the wasteland. According to Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003, the competition among the black minotaurs who want to come here every day is fierce. Well, they used to eat mud every day. Finally, Sejun received another queen bee's larva yesterday. With this, there will be 3 beehives now. But the blue moon is coming soon, will it be okay? Sejun looked at the surface field, remembering what happened about a month ago. When the surface field was destroyed by Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 during blue moon, Sejun fell into deep thought. If this keeps happening, there's no reason to plant crops in the surface field. It would be okay if monsters didn't come during the blue moon, but if monsters came even once and made a mess of the farm, all farming would be in vain. Since there was no solution, Sejun even considered giving up on the surface field. Then the tower's administrator says to leave it to them, if you're worrying about monsters rampaging and destroying the fields during the blue moon. Leave it to them? What will they do? The tower's manager asks smugly, didn't you see them suppressing the monsters during the blue moon? Oh, come to think of it, there was a time when the monsters quieted down when the black dragon appeared during the first blue moon when Sejun was in distress. It was Aileen. I got it. Then I'll trust you, Aileen. The tower administrator tells you to trust them and plant crops, a lot of crops. So Sejun trusted Aileen's words and worked hard to plant crops, but as the blue moon approached, he was a little anxious. It'll be okay, right? Since he had made the decision to trust, Sejun decided to trust Aileen to the end. Today, because of the blue moon, even the Crimson Giant Bear and the Black Minotaurs did not come, and the wolves went down to the lower floor last night saying they didn't want to cause any damage. It feels somewhat empty without the big guys around, Sejun said while looking at the wide field. Then, chop, chop, chop. What's empty, meow? The charming and deadly yellow cat, President Theo, is here, meow. While resting on Sejun's lap, Theo, who was eating churro, thumped Sejun's chest with his front paw to assert his presence. That's right. You're here, I'm sorry. Where did he learn such charm? Sejun quickly stroked Theo's back. Today, because they had to finish their work early to prepare for the blue moon, he needed Theo's help. In a hurry, they finished their work and prepared for the blue moon. Sejun put out the fire and got rid of the smell. The rabbits went into their burrow, and the poisonous honey bees went into the hive and blocked the entrance. And see you in the morning, meow. Theo went inside his bag. Once everyone went inside their homes, the cave was eerily quiet. It's cold. Although the weather wasn't too cold, Sejun felt chilly, perhaps because of loneliness, and pulled a blanket over himself. After a while, the blue moon rose. He. Human, put your trust in the great black dragon Aileen Pratani. Aileen was excited at the thought of helping the human. A while ago, Aileen, to celebrate the 200th day of human stay in the tower, prepared a soup by stirring various potions for hours for the weak human's health, and for expressing gratitude and apology for the human's constant hardships. However, I guess cooking is not my thing. Honestly, cooking was too hard. Aileen worried what if the human asked for more because it was too delicious, but the human did not ask for more, probably knowing Aileen's hardship. On top of that, the human even asked to never make it again from next time. It's nice to see that human worrying about me so much. It was because Sejun was worried about his own life, but Aileen thought it was because he was worried about her. While thinking about the peculiar human, Aileen moved to the rooftop of the tower administrator's space. There was a cylindrical object that looked like a searchlight, with a diameter of 5 m and a thickness of about 1 m. Squeak, squeak. Aileen hummed and diligently cleaned the front part of the cylinder, which had a black dragon drawn on it. And after a while, the surroundings turned bluish, and the blue moon rose. Is it my turn now? Thump. When Aileen pressed the switch on the side of the cylindrical object, bam! Just as a bat signal appears on the moon, a light came out of the cylinder, and the black dragon drawn on the front of the cylinder moved, and the shadow of the black dragon began to fly above the sky, where the blue moon rose. And when the shadow of the black dragon reached the zenith of the sky, roar! Aileen roared loudly from behind the cylinder. Roar! The cylinder carried Aileen's voice with magic power, and spread it all over the 99th floor of the tower. This cylinder was a magical tool that Aileen's grandfather, Kaiser Pratani, made for his granddaughter. It was an item made so that his granddaughter who couldn't leave the administrator's space could use it once in a while when it was hard to manage the tower. Hee, the human will think that's me, right? Aileen proudly looked at the black dragon floating above the sky, and roared loudly once again. Roar! The roar of the great black dragon soothed the monsters of the 99th floor of the tower who had gone mad due to the blue moon. Notes. I have been busy with IRL work, so I did not get much time to translate new chapters. Anyway, enjoy. Smiling Face with Smiling Eyes Chapter 48 TL. Hanga Cultivator, Tower, Farmer Pak Sejun. When Theo became intermediate wandering merchant, and the information of the cultivator appeared on the degrade magical cherry tomato, who is Tower, Farmer Pak Sejun. He seems to be Korean by his name. But was there a job called a tower farmer? People sent by hunters, and the wealthy from various countries around the world started heading to Korea to gather information about Sejun. Korean Awakened Association's president's office. Inside the president's office, there was nothing but a desk and a table, and it was cold as a freezer. A muscular old man in his 60s with white hair sitting at the head of the table was taking off his top and sitting with his bare feet on a 1-meter thick ice slab, glaring at a man. Ick. His foot was so hot that the ice was melting even in this cold place. Dongsik, I won't beat around the bush. Spill everything you know. Association President Hunt, Jen spoke to his youngest disciple, Phoenix Guild's 5th team leader Kim Dongsik. Master, what are you talking about? Kim Dongsik, wearing a thick padding jacket, blew out white breath and asked, I heard you visited Park Sejun's house twice. Ah, that, have you ever met Park Sejun? Hunt, Jen asked with a serious expression. No. I just met through a cat-wandering merchant called Theo. Kim Dongsik explained in detail what he knew to Hunt Jen. He didn't pretend to hide anything. If he got caught doing that, he'd be beaten to death by Hunt Jen. He couldn't afford to be beaten like that after turning 40. His master, Hunt Jen, although currently retired due to the curse of flames and having to cool his body like that, was a tremendous monster who unofficially climbed up to the 52nd floor of the tower. The reason Kim Dongsik believed Theo's words easily when Sejun said he had climbed up to the 40th floor was because he had already seen his master, the unparalleled genius, Han Teun. So that's what happened. Well done, Dongsik, you will protect Park Sejun's family. Association President Han Teun wanted to prevent the possibility of the producer of the magical cherry tomato, who was receiving global attention, leaving the country due to his family's problems. Excuse me? Why? What? Since you're already familiar with them, it's best if you do it. Any objections? No. Although there were objections, he couldn't voice them. Don't worry. I will arrange for your senior brothers to alternate with you. And so, unilaterally, Han Teun arranged for Kim Dongsik to be assigned as the protection for Sejun's family. Roar! Fortunately, as soon as the blue moon rose, Aileen intervened as promised, so the ground farm was safe. That's a relief. Watching Aileen fly around in the sky where the blue moon was, Sejun looked at the crops with relief, and after a while, blue energy began to condense in the tomato field, potato field, and sweet potato field. Oh, he had forgotten. It was time to harvest the sweet potatoes. My goodness, I forgot about the sweet potatoes. Sejun blamed his foolishness and checked the crops where the energy of the blue moon had condensed. The blue moon's energy was imbued in 13 crops in the tomato field, 3 in the potato field, and 7 in the sweet potato field. Sejun hurriedly remembered the locations of the crops before the blue moon's energy completely permeated them. And as the blue energy completely permeated the crops, he harvested the potatoes and sweet potatoes, whose colors were hidden under the soil first. Was it here? Sejun went to the location he remembered and pulled the potato stems. Thud thud thud. One blue potato was visible among the potatoes that were strung along the stem. In this way, Sejun, who obtained a total of 3 power potatoes imbued with the blue moon's energy, quickly moved to the sweet potato field. And then thunk. He dug up 7 power sweet potatoes imbued with the blue moon's energy. Lastly, while harvesting the magical cherry tomatoes imbued with the blue moon's energy, the tower administrator is boasting about their contributions. Of course I saw. Now quickly create a quest and take these. Sejun proactively offered 5 blue tomatoes, 1 potato, and 1 sweet potato. He offered the crops first, even though Aileen did not ask for them. He hoped that Aileen would actively block the blue moon in the future. And then, the tower administrator thanks you. The tower administrator shouts out loud to leave the blue moon to them in the future. Aileen did not betray Sejun's expectations. Tower administrator hesitantly asks if you can cook the potatoes and sweet potatoes. Aileen asked cautiously, as if she was sorry for asking for more while being the recipient. I'll do it. Sejun, having experienced Aileen's disaster-grade cooking skills, readily agreed. Although he wondered if this was also considered cooking, he thought he wouldn't feel good if Aileen messed up roasting the potatoes and sweet potatoes. He couldn't stand not being able to eat the crops. And he didn't want to see Aileen's message of crying over messing up the cooking. He planned to make steamed potatoes and roasted sweet potatoes anyway, so it was not a big hassle. In the meantime, as the harvested potatoes and sweet potatoes were turned into steamed potatoes and roasted sweet potatoes, Sejun took a look at the options of a magical cherry tomato imbued with the blue moon's energy. Magical cherry tomato imbued with blue moon's energy. Right arrow, a tomato grown in the tower with sufficient nutrients that tastes good. Right arrow, the taste has further improved with the energy of the blue moon. Right arrow, a farmer familiar with farming grew it, so the taste and efficiency are good. Right arrow, upon consumption, your magic permanently increases by 0.3. Right arrow, cultivator. Tower, Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow, expiration date. 120 days. Right arrow, grade. See, my magic increases by 0.3. Up until now, the stat increase between crops imbued with the blue moon's energy and regular crops has been consistent at twice the amount. But starting from grade C, the efficiency of crops imbued with the blue moon's energy was better, making the difference less than twice. I'll just eat 4 for now. Although he would not eat the eel's core right away, as he needed it to use as a source of light when securing food outside the pond, I'm prepared to raise his magic level to more than 10 so that he could eat the giant electric eel's core whenever necessary. When Sejun put the cherry tomato he was holding into his mouth and chewed, crunch, splash, pumpkin broke, releasing the sweet and sour juice inside. The juice of the cherry tomato, which was of C grade and contained the energy of the blue moon, tasted even richer. Wow, it's delicious. You have consumed a magical cherry tomato imbued with the energy of the blue moon. Your magic permanently increases by 0.3. Before the aftertaste of the flavor disappeared, Sejun put another blue cherry tomato into his mouth. Crunch. You have consumed a magical cherry tomato imbued with the energy of the blue moon. Your magic permanently increases by 0.3. In this way, Sejun, who ate 4 blue cherry tomatoes, finally increased his magic to over 10. Specifically, it was 10.25. Shortly after the steamed potatoes and roasted sweet potatoes were done, Sejun sent 5 cherry tomatoes, 1 steamed potato, and 1 roasted sweet potato to Aileen, thus completing the quest. And then, Sejun peeled the blue skin off the steamed potato. Hoo! Sejun blew on the potato to cool it down quickly. In a moment when no one was looking, he planned to eat the potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon and get rid of the evidence. It's a shame there's no sugar. It certainly tasted fine with salt, but for some reason, he thought about sugar because he couldn't have it. Just then, upon thinking, he didn't have sugar, but he had something better than sugar. It was organic honey harvested by honeybees from the cherry tomato flowers he had grown himself. Sejun hurriedly brought the glass jar filled with honey, opened the lid, and poured honey into a bowl. Glug, like when he gave honey to Kundi baby bear, the angle of the glass bottle went down without hesitation. And then dip. Sejun dipped the steamed potato deeply into the bowl of honey and put it in his mouth. The potato coated in honey entered Sejun's mouth. Hoo-ah-ha! As he cooled the hot potato with his breath, he chewed the potato. As he chewed the potato, the honey, which had turned to liquid due to the heat, seeped into the fluffy potato, creating a harmonious taste. Gulp. No other words were needed. It was the perfect combination. You have consumed a power potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon. Your strength permanently increases by 0.3. When he finished eating 1 steamed potato, you have achieved the feat of recreating the forgotten dish of honey potato. This is a forgotten dish, just because he dipped a steamed potato in honey. Aileen ate the 5 cherry tomatoes imbued with the energy of the blue moon that she received from Sejun. All at once, thump, thud. She focused on her dragon heart, which was beating slowly, but steadily. Whether her body had adapted this time, she didn't faint. Creak. Feeling the throbbing of her dragon heart, Aileen swallowed the steamed potato and roasted sweet potato in order. It's a pity. The potatoes and sweet potatoes disappeared as if they melted in an instant. When Aileen was feeling the lingering taste and regretting it, she saw the human dipping a steamed potato in something beyond the crystal ball. And then achievement, recreation of the forgotten dish, honey potato, has been achieved in the tower. Aileen nodded at the human. Reproducing delicious food, he truly was an extraordinary human. He's done something remarkable, so he deserves a reward. Thump. Aileen's heartbeat grew stronger. This time, it wasn't her dragon heart, but another heartbeat. Extraordinary human, accept this quest. Blinded by the honey potatoes, Aileen didn't notice. The tower administrator nods at your excellent achievement. A quest has been generated. Quest: serve honey potatoes to the tower's administrator. Reward: 1 job skill refusal. Well, I'd be hurt, but I won't show it. What? I'd be hurt but won't show it? Then don't put it in the quest. Can I just make it with regular potatoes? There was no reason to refuse when she was offering a skill after so long. And it wasn't hard to do either. Tower's administrator nods vigorously, indicating her understanding. Sejun peeled the skins off the steamed potatoes he had in the pot and put 5 of them into a bowl filled with honey. Here, the bowl in Sejun's hand disappeared entirely. And then, you have completed the quest. You have obtained a special job skill, Cooking LV. 1 as a quest completion reward. He obtained a new skill. Cooking, honey potato recipe has been registered in special job skill, Cooking LV. 1. Recipe? Sejun checked the cooking skill. Special job skill, Cooking LV. 1. The taste and effect of food made using ingredients from the tower will slightly improve. Registered recipes. 1. Effects increase slightly. As Sejun peeled the blue skin off another steamed potato and dipped it into honey, you have created a power honey potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon. Your proficiency with Cooking LV. 1 has increased slightly. The taste and effect of the power honey potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon have increased slightly due to the effect of Cooking LV. 1. Power honey potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon. You steamed a power potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon, peeled off the skin, and seasoned it with honey. Combination of steamed potato and honey made the taste sweet and soft. The taste slightly improves. Upon consumption, your strength permanently increases by 0.3. The increase in strength due to Cooking LV. 1 is too small to be displayed. Cook, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Expiration date. 1 day. Grade C. I can't make it in advance and eat it. The expiration date was 1 day, and the increase in strength was barely different. Sejun decided to be satisfied with the improved taste. Shall I try it? Sejun put the finished honey potato in his mouth, and then gulp. Swish, he buried the blue potato skin in the cherry tomato field, completely erasing any trace of him eating the power potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon. On 212th day of being stranded, Sejun's 8th blue moon passed very peacefully. Chapter 49. Creating thunderclouds. Hill, Hanguk. As soon as the blue moon ended, Sejun went to the green onion field on the ground. A few days ago, he planted a few detoxifying green onions in part of the green onion field, and had been cutting the leaves and dividing the growing roots to plant more. He needed an detoxifying green onion for every meal in order to eat seafood outside the pond, and the result of the division and planting was fortunately successful. The roots of the green onions planted by division from the detoxifying green onion grew as the same grade detoxifying green onion. It was possible to duplicate items. So he checked to see if there were any detoxifying green onions containing the energy of the blue moon among the detoxifying green onions, but there's none. As he thought, there were no detoxifying green onions containing the energy of the blue moon. Unlike other crops, green onions didn't contain the energy of the blue moon. Was the condition not right? Let's get to work. Sejun, who had been thinking, began to cut the lush green onion leaves that had grown overnight. It was almost morning, so it was an awkward time to sleep. After about 30 minutes, thud, grrr, Quinny Baby Bear, who came to work with Mother Crimson Giant Bear, greeted Sejun by waving his 2 front paws. Then grrr, sniff sniff. Quinny Baby Bear approached Sejun and began to sniff vigorously near Sejun's face. Why are you doing that? Sejun, feeling guilty, tried to retreat, but plop. Quinny Baby Bear grabbed Sejun's shoulder to prevent him from running away. Then sniff sniff. He persistently sniffed around Sejun's mouth. grrr. Dad's mouth smells like honey. grrr. Did you eat honey alone? Sejun's perfect crime began to shake violently, with Sejun's pupils. Quinny Baby Bear, shall we eat something delicious? Sejun quickly changed the direction of the conversation and brought boiled potatoes from the cave. Then this is a honey potato. Sejun placed 5 boiled potatoes on the green onion leaves and generously poured honey over them. You have made 5 power honey potatoes. Your Cooking LV. 1 proficiency has increased slightly. Due to the effect of Cooking LV. 1. The taste and effect of power honey potatoes have increased slightly. Here, eat it. Quinny Baby Bear swallowed the honey potatoes that Sejun had made, along with the green onion leaves. Chew chew. Want more? grrr. At Sejun's words, Quinny Baby Bear nodded his head strongly. The moment Quinny Baby Bear tasted the honey potato, the fact that Sejun's mouth smelled like honey wasn't important. Sejun was barely able to keep Quinny's Baby Bear mouth shut with the honey potatoes. And a while later, the rabbits woke up and ate blue moon energy imbued cherry tomatoes and roasted sweet potatoes, starting a busy morning. First floor of the tower, Gagel's Tower, Farm Project Headquarters. In the headquarters yard, about 6,000 cherry tomatoes that were successfully germinated from the seeds of D-grade magic power cherry tomatoes had already grown up to ankle height. Come on, move quickly. Team leader Thomas was urging the researchers, who were diluting the high-concentration growth stimulant with water. The reason why cherry tomatoes could grow so fast was thanks to the growth stimulant developed by Gagel. Although the product was too expensive to commercialize compared to its effect, They were spraying the cherry tomato field without sparing the growth stimulant in order to check the results quickly under the direction of Vice Chairman Michael. They didn't even know what kind of result it would make squirm. The stem of the cherry tomato moved slightly, but no one among the researchers noticed it. In the late afternoon after lunch, a strange atmosphere began to flow in the green onion field. Swish, swish. Sejun's face hardened as he cut the green onion leaves. Squeak, squeak. On the contrary, the faces of the sickle rabbit and the red-dotted rabbit among the second-generation offspring were full of smiles. Between the two flowed a pink aura. The two rabbits were in love. Squeak! The mother rabbit seemed pleased, as if it was a good time looking at the two of them. However, these guys, in the sacred workplace, Sejun couldn't look at them fondly. This was definitely not because he felt sick or felt uncomfortable. As the leader of the farm, he needed to inform them of the farm's rule prohibiting romance during work hours. Go! Go in, ye baby bear! Rolling attack! Grrr! At Sejun's command, Kuingyi baby bear rolled forward once and jar. He chased after the sickle rabbit at a fast speed, aggressively picking up the green onion leaves. Whack! The sickle rabbit started to cut green onion leaves in surprise at Kuingyi's baby bear charge. And go, black rabbit, show your elder brother's dignity. Bounce! At Sejun's command, the black rabbit walked towards the red-dotted rabbit with a casual gait like a delinquent, and led her to where she was watering the crops for on-site training. Once the atmosphere that bothered Sejun disappeared, you kids are at least 10 years too early. Sejun said villain-like lines and then started working again. And squeak, squeak. The mother rabbit shook her head as she watched Sejun. She was wondering who the real kid was. As evening fell, roar. Grrr. The mother crimson giant bear took Kuingyi baby bear home. And moo! Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003, representing the other black minotaurs, informed Sejun that it was time to leave work. Right. You did well. Take that pile of green onion leaves over there. Moo! Wuchen Sam Minotaur 1003 was happy at Sejun's words and picked up a pile of green onion leaves and went off duty. We should clock out too. Squeak! Whack! At Sejun's words, the rabbits finished their work and started to go down to the cave. Is the work done now, meow? Theo approached to claim Sejun's empty lap. President Theo, where have you been playing? Do you want to get fired again? No, meow. I was cleaning up the bag, meow. And I found this in the bag, meow. Theo handed over an item he got for free from the blacksmith's corner to Sejun, looking wronged. It was a necklace with a small yellow gemstone. Scratch gem necklace. Right arrow usage restriction. None right arrow creator. Confidential right arrow grade. As the name suggests, there were many scratches on the gem. Aileen, can you appraise this? The tower's administrator says leave it to them. A quest has been generated. Aileen took the necklace and appraised it. The tower's administrator says it's useless, but it's not dangerous. In return for receiving the necklace, she requested cherry tomatoes. Here are 20 cherry tomatoes. Sejun gave Aileen 20 cherry tomatoes, and the necklace appeared in Sejun's hand. You have acquired the appraised necklace. Necklace of Light as a quest completion reward. Necklace of Light? Sejun checked the options of the necklace. Necklace of Light right arrow. It's a necklace with light magic inscribed on an amber gem. Right arrow usage restrictions. LV. 5 and above. Magic power. 3 and above. Right arrow creator. Horan, the Green Tower's magician. Right arrow grade. See right arrow skill. Light LV. 1 light LV. 1 right arrow. When you use the skill, it brightens up the surroundings. Right arrow. The higher the wearer's magic power, the stronger the light. How is it, meow? I didn't particularly like anything in the draw, but I picked it up because it was free, meow. Theo spoke in an uncertain voice to Sejun, who was checking the necklace he had appraised. As expected, the golden paw. Meow? Theo's drawing ability was impressive. The necklace of light had a feature that Sejun needed. That was the light skill, which emits light. Although he wanted to eat the eel's core, he had been enduring it because if he ate the eel's core himself, the black rabbit would lose the way to get seafood from outside the pond. If he used the light skill built into the magic necklace, everything would be solved. He needs to check the brightness first. Besides, that's amazing. Theo's golden paw was a perfect high-end item detector that did not even go below grade C. What, meow? As Sejun looked at him with displeasure, Theo anxiously clung to Sejun's lap. Come here. Why, meow? Gokcha. Sejun grabbed Theo's body with both hands, lifted him, and moved Theo's front paw back and forth as if detecting pulse, and roamed around. How about it? Is there a place your foot is attracted to? Sejun asked as he carried Theo around for about 3 minutes. He was planning to stop and go down to the cave now since it was a joke. However, keep walking, meow. Okay. As Theo replied with a concentrated expression with his eyes closed, Sejun thought that Theo was seriously searching for items, and walked around diligently. Foo-hoot. So this is how it feels to be carried. It feels good, meow. If Sejun knew what Theo was feeling, he would have stopped, but Sejun didn't have the ability to read minds. So they walked for about 10 minutes, but Theo's front paw was quiet. Let's eat. Hungry, Sejun brought Theo down to the cave. President Park, let's do it again next time, meow. Only Theo was satisfied with those 10 minutes. For dinner, they had baked sweet potatoes and grilled fish. As soon as the meal was over, here, try wearing this. Sejun handed the necklace of light to the black rabbit. But your magic power is over 3, right? Squeak! Swoosh! Swoosh! In response to Sejun's question, the black rabbit squeaked as if to say don't underestimate him, and wrote his magic power number on the dirt floor with his front paw. 33 Wah? Sejun was surprised to see that the black rabbit's magic power was much higher than his own. Meanwhile, Flash, the black rabbit, who wore the necklace, used the necklace's skill to light up the surroundings. And then Splash, the black rabbit, using the light skill, jumped into the pond and went out through the hole and returned. How about it? Can you see well? Squeak. In response to Sejun's question, the black rabbit nodded. It sees well. Really? In response to the black rabbit's answer, Sejun picked up the gigantic electric eel's core. Finally, it was time to eat the core. Crunch. He took a big bite and swish. The hard core turned mushy and flowed into his mouth. Sejun was surprised at the unexpected taste he felt from the inner core. What? Why does it taste like orange flavored soda here? He felt a fizzing orange flavored soda taste from the liquefied gigantic electric eel's core. An image of orange Fanta came to Sejun's mind. Gulp. While enjoying the aftertaste, you have consumed the inner core of the giant electric eel. You have learned skill, Rain Thunder LV. 1. A message appeared saying he had learned a skill. Learned? As Sejun was feeling strange, who always saw only the message that he had acquired a skill. You lack a great deal of magical power to properly use Rain Thunder LV. 1. For the user's safety, Rainfall is sealed. For the user's safety, Throw Thunder is sealed. What? If Rain and Thunder are sealed in the Rain Thunder skill, then it's not a Rain Thunder skill. Sejun quickly checked the skill. Skill, Rain Thunder LV. 1 right arrow you can create a thundercloud to use rain and thunder. Right arrow create thundercloud. You create a thundercloud with magic power. The stronger the magic power, the larger and denser the thundercloud you can create. If the environment is right, there's a low chance to make it rain. Right arrow rainfall, sealed, requires magic power of 30 or above. Right arrow throw thunder, sealed, requires magic power of 70 or above. Create thundercloud. As Sejun used the skill, Fluffy, a small thundercloud, about 1 meter above Sejun's head, was created. Aha, he used a third of his magic power, but the thundercloud was much smaller than expected. Sejun decided to be satisfied with the ability to create shade with the cloud when resting, and having tasted the orange flavored soda. Then, oh great black dragon, we have returned. The silver wolves that had gone down to avoid the blue moon came back with 3 gray rabbits. Good night. Chapter 50. Joining forces. Kiel, Hanguk Elka and the wolves, who had avoided the blue moon on the 99th floor of the tower, quickly stopped by the 85th floor to inform their tribal wolves that they were now working under the great black dragon. Then, they delivered a small portion of food prepared by Sejun and set back on their path to the 99th floor. Chief Elka, a subordinate wolf called Elka. What? Look over there. The subordinate wolf pointed out something. There, 3 rabbits were begging on the roadside. Are those rabbits the servants of the great black dragon? They looked dirty and skinny from hardships, but they were unmistakably rabbits. Elka thought the gray rabbits had escaped from Sejun. How dare they run away from the great black dragon? Catch them and take them to the great black dragon. Yes. Yes. In this way, Elka and the wolves caught the begging gray rabbits one by one, and went up to the 99th floor. And Sejun and Theo went up to the ground to see the wolves thud. The wolves carefully placed the 3 gray rabbits they had been holding in their mouths in front of Sejun. Shivering, the gray rabbits, dragged by the wolves, were shaking in fear. Elka, who are these? We have caught the runaway servants of the great black dragon. Runaway servants? Elka looked at Sejun, wagging his tail, as if to say, didn't I do well? You did well for now. Sejun patted Elka's head. Where did they find these guys? Architect Gray Rabbit, Wood Craftsman Gray Rabbit, Leaf Craftsman Gray Rabbit. The wolves brought in technicians. Shivering, what should we do, brother? Brother, I'm scared. Even if we are given to the dragon, as long as we stay alert, we'll survive. Everyone, stay alert. The architect rabbit comforted his siblings, who were anxious about the human, cat, and wolf gazes looking down at them. He was also anxious, but if he too showed his anxiousness, the situation would get worse. We are the gray rabbits of the great rabbit kingdom. The older rabbit brother stepped forward and cried out with pride. It was his attempt to shake off the anxiety. Then swoosh, a human hand reached out towards him. Did I overstep? The older rabbit brother regretted it, and tightly closed his eyes. Squeak! Among the 3 starving rabbits, the healthiest looking architect rabbit was mumbling something on his own. As Sejun reached out his hand to talk to the architect rabbit, Squeak! Damn! The other two gray rabbits behind threw themselves toward Sejun's hand. However, growl, how dare you try to attack the great black dragon? The wolves lightly swung their paws, and the gray rabbits fainted in an instant. In the settled atmosphere, Sejun put his hand on the head of the architect rabbit. And then, I'm sorry for now. Our wolves had some misunderstanding. Squeak, squeak, misunderstanding? Then, are you sparing us? Of course. Why would I kill you guys? Squeak. That's a relief. Upon hearing Sejun's promise not to kill them, the architect rabbit seemed relieved and passed out. Let's sleep now and talk again tomorrow. Yes, great black dragon. Sejun told the wolves, then took the gray rabbits down to the cave. He laid them down on straw and covered them with green onion leaves. Representative Theo, let's sleep too, Sejun said, laying down and covering himself with a blanket. What? I'm President Theo Meow. Your time is up. The time for President Theo, which had been extended for various reasons, was over. Ah, that's right, Meow. At Sejun's words, Theo readily admitted it and climbed onto Sejun's stomach to sleep. Kun. When morning came, Kuan-hee came to play and woke everyone up. All right. Sejun got up, added a line to the wall, and began the morning of day 213. And then squeak, squeak. The rabbit couple emerging from the cave was surprised to discover the still sleeping gray rabbits. From the expression of the rabbit couple, it seemed they recognized them. Do you know each other? In response to Sejun's question, the male rabbit nodded his head. And then squeak. There was once a great rabbit kingdom. He began explaining, placing his hand on Sejun's body. According to the male rabbit, in the past, the rabbit kingdom was inhabited by 3 rabbit tribes living in harmony. The white rabbit tribe, who enjoyed farming, the gray rabbit tribe, who were good with their hands and loved creating things, and the black rabbit tribe, who were adept in combat. Squeak. But one day, the red monsters covered the sky. The sudden invasion of the red monsters caused the downfall of the rabbit kingdom, and all the rabbits scattered to find a way to survive. And the unconscious gray rabbits there were from a neighboring village of his own. As they were talking, a sock, sound of slowly chewing on green onion leaves could be heard. When he looked towards the sound, he found that the gray rabbits were nibbling on the green onion leaves Sejun had covered them with, even in their sleep. How hungry they must have been to be eating even in their sleep. Let's wake them up, feed them, and put them back to sleep. Squeak. At Sejun's words, the rabbit couple happily rushed to roast some piranhas and more green onion leaves. They seemed happy to meet fellow natives from the same kingdom. As the morning was almost completed, Squirm the gray rabbits, who had not been awakened, woke up on their own, following the delicious smell with their noses. And then, squeak, squeak, squeak. Seeing the white rabbits and black rabbits roaming around, the gray rabbits shed tears. They misunderstood that they had died and that the rabbits in heaven were welcoming them. Then gurgle. After hearing the sound from their stomachs, the architect rabbit came to his senses. It couldn't be that they were dead, and their stomachs were making sounds. Then squeak. The rabbit couple approached the gray rabbits, who had regained their senses. Uncle, Aunt, have you been well? The gray rabbits greeted the rabbit couple joyfully, asking each other about their well-being. What about your parents? They passed away while protecting us from the red monsters. The rabbit couple quietly embraced the gray rabbits. Then gurgle. The sound came from the gray rabbits' bellies again. Squeak. The rabbit couple quickly fed the gray rabbits breakfast. This is our farm's owner, and these are our children. While eating breakfast, the rabbit couple introduced Sejun, Theo, and their children, greeting each other. After breakfast, the rabbits went off to do their individual tasks, and the gray rabbits left behind began to create something, seemingly to repay their meal. What's this? Sejun, who came to prepare lunch, found the gray rabbits busily creating something. In the kitchen, there was a basket made of green onion leaves filled neatly with cut green onion leaves ready to be eaten, and utensils made from surrounding trees, spoons and chopsticks. They were of a higher quality compared to the ones Sejun had made roughly. Do you perhaps need a job? Sejun had planned to make the offer once they got a bit closer, but after witnessing the gray rabbit's handiwork, he couldn't resist asking. Squeak, squeak, squeak. At Sejun's words, the gray rabbits nodded their heads vigorously. One reason the gray rabbits put their skills to use was to catch the eye of the farm owner, Sejun. If they could eat like this every morning or even just have green onion leaves every day, they would be content. And so, the 3 gray rabbits joined Sejun's farm. And as a result, Sejun's standard of living started to increase significantly. From now on, the gray rabbits will also be living with us. Sejun announced the gray rabbits joining of the farm while eating lunch. After lunch, I'm sleepy. Give me your lap, Meow. Yawned Squeak. Theo and the black rabbit took Sejun's 2 knees and Kuani took Sejun's back, starting their nap. Create thundercloud. Fluffy. Sejun made a shade that even covered Kuani with a thundercloud. Sip sip. Sejun sipped his coffee while examining the thundercloud he created. But does this thing move? As soon as Sejun thought about moving the thundercloud, swoosh, the thundercloud moved slowly to the side. It was slow, but it did move. Then, the proficiency of creating thundercloud has slightly increased. Huh? The proficiency of creating thunderclouds increased. However, it was unclear whether the proficiency of the rain thunder skill itself had increased. Squeak! As the thundercloud moved aside and suddenly the dazzling sun shone, Kundi pressed its head more against Sejun's back to avoid the sun. Sorry. Sejun patted the head of Kundi and returned the dark cloud to its original position. This time, he changed the shape of the cloud. It wasn't detail, but it was possible to make the dark cloud a bit thicker or thinner, wider or narrower. In addition, every time Sejun changed the shape of the dark cloud, the proficiency of creating dark clouds increased. Let's get up now. After a nap of about 30 minutes, Sejun woke up Theo, the black rabbit, and Kundi and started work again. Swoosh! Sejun grabbed the back of Theo's head as he tried to sneak off somewhere else for another nap. What, meow? Our representative Theo should show an example to his subordinates today. Is that so, meow? It's time to show my cool side, meow. Wolves, follow me, meow. Slash! At Sejun's words, Theo unsheathed his claws and ran towards the green onion field. And then grrr! The wolves followed Theo to the green onion field and started cutting the green onion leaves with sharp claws. Sejun sent Theo and the wolves to the green onion field and went down to the cave. Cherry tomatoes, potatoes, sweet potatoes. There was a lot to harvest today. Sejun had the sickle rabbit cut the sweet potato sprouts to be planted later and started harvesting. Scratch! Sejun quickly finished harvesting the cherry tomatoes and thump. In the potato field, he pulled the potato stems and harvested the potatoes. The shovel rabbits turned the soil and harvested the remaining potatoes that could not be harvested by pulling the potato stems. And when Sejun was about to harvest sweet potatoes from the sweet potato field, where all the sweet potato sprouts had been cut, tumble, Theo walked weakly and clung to Sejun's leg, who was cutting green onion leaves. Representative Theo, what's wrong? The wolves cut the green onion leaves better than me, meow. Huh? When Sejun looked up to the ground, he saw the wolves slice. With a single swipe of a wolf's paw, a sharp wind rose and 4-5 green onion leaves were cut at once. In particular, nearly 10 green onion leaves were cut off with Elka's swipe. That's impressive? Theo's confidence was about to break. However, Sejun could not let Theo's spirit die, so he quickly started to boost Theo's spirits. It's okay. Theo, your talent isn't in your claws. Then where is my talent, meow? Theo, your talent is in your front paws. Is that so, meow? At Sejun's words, Theo had a great realization. Hut. Everything Park Sejun says is right, meow. I'm a merchant, meow. My talent is the deadly charm of my front paws to entice customers, meow. Connecting the front paws with other words sparked creative thinking. Thunk. Theo, whose spirit was revived, got off Sejun's leg and walked to a corner of the cave. However, thud. Theo's neck was caught again by Sejun. Theo, where are you going? You have work to do. President Park, I'm tired, meow. Yeah, rest after finishing work. Although Theo spoke with a tired expression, Sejun firmly answered, and put Theo in a sweet potato field, where sweet potato sprouts were not yet cut. That's how Theo helped the sickle rabbit cut sweet potato sprouts. A little later slice. Did you see that, meow? My amazing cutting skill, meow. Theo was still the strongest in the cave. More chapters releasing soon.